What's up, guys? Hopefully this stream will go smoothly. And the reason why I have to be a little bit hopeful is we're doing a lot of things new on this particular stream. There's a new website at Tidal Gardens. This particular stream is being done in 1080p. And in the past, we've had issues with 1080 not looking quite right or skipping around. And I thought that it was because of my internet connection. So if you've watched any of these live streams, you probably remember me at some point or another complaining about my ISP not having fast enough upload speeds available. But the more that we kind of fiddled with things, the last live stream that we did a couple months ago, I did with this new computer here. This is an actual desktop rather than my laptop. It might have been an issue of just the computer not being strong enough to run this broadcasting software and stitching everything together in 1080. So real quick, hopefully you guys can hear me okay. So in chat, just let me know if I sound all right. I'm also keeping an eye on the dropped frames. So I remember when we were doing this broadcast in 720p on a laptop, we would drop roughly 3,000 something frames, maybe even more, during the course of a 3-hour show. But the last time we did it with this monster of a desktop, we dropped like 0 frames. And so far, with the 1080 going on, we've dropped 3. So I can handle that. Also, like the CPU usage percentage, we were, on the laptop, I think it was something like 99%. It was basically the entire I don't know, bandwidth resources of that machine. But on this one, it's like 10. So nice. We have an empty seat here. It will be filled by a guest. He's inside right now, but he'll be back out. So we're starting a little bit early. The show officially doesn't start until 2 p.m. So I wanted just to take a moment and just make sure stuff works. Because also, as I mentioned, there's a new website. So Jacob Rosansky likes the new site. What did you use to make it? That's done in Magento 2. A big reason why, I'm going to pop out this chat right here. Okay. So a big reason why we went with the new site entirely was because our old site was on Magento 1. Excuse me. And technically, that was no longer like a stable, good build. The other reason is we were really, really tired of our old host. That hosting company went from one of the best hosting companies out there to one of the worst once they got acquired. So it was like they were giving like the most garbage service imaginable. And at one point, we just had to say, no, that's enough. And like we shut down the website for 2 weeks. That's why there wasn't a live sale in May. And boy, believe me, that sucks to not do a live sale for us, especially in the summertime because it gets so slow. But enough complaining about that. So welcome. Do you guys remember who this guy is? Probably not.
Yeah, some dude.
Some dude. So this is Nathan. He's a local hobbyist here. What are we drinking today? We are drinking Jack and Coke. I'm drinking Jack and Coke. He's not drinking anything yet.
Well, you've just left Jack for me.
Just Jack. So there's some Coke down there.
Oh, there's the Coke. Oh,
Yeah.
The Jack is chilled too. Thank you.
Okay, so I need to actually hook you up with audio. So nobody heard a thing you said.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
All right, here we go.
They didn't hear any of my self-deprecation.
No, they didn't hear nothing. Okay, so hopefully this isn't too loud and obnoxious. Just clip that anyway. Okay, can you hear him okay?
Can you hear me now? Is that better?
All right, so hopefully you guys can Can hear him just fine. His levels here sound okay. So, all right. So I'm curious, are you guys actually watching this in 1080p, or most people like watching on their phones at some lower resolution? I don't even know.
We're at 1080p.
Yes.
Where's hair and makeup before
Yeah,
I
I
get
know.
in?
It's like, yeah,
Do you really want to do that
we
today?
need to put on like the filters.
I guess we're smaller window there.
You know, the cat ear filters.
Speaking of cats, the furry black cat hissed at me.
Not surprising. She's like,
She was up in the perch by the window, right by the bathroom.
uh-huh.
So I went in and I came out. Hi, how are you?
Okay. So enough of hearing me sip.
You really upgraded the little setup here. I mean, look at this monitor.
Yeah.
Holy smokes.
So these guys
And the
heard-
ring light to make us look pretty.
And that ring light helps so much, especially if it gets overcast or anything like that. But yeah, like I was telling these guys, one big huge change is going from a laptop to an actual desktop, because I think that part of the reason why we couldn't broadcast in 1080p wasn't because of my bandwidth upload problems. It's that the machine itself couldn't handle it. So I've dropped 3 frames so far, and usually when I do a 720 stream on a laptop, I get like 3,000. Yeah. So we're doing all right so far. So far. Okay. So.
I've got to be careful sitting here chatting away. See how much I drink.
Well, we're gonna be here for 3 hours.
I know that's what I mean. Over 3 hours, that could be a problem.
So I haven't seen you in a long time. So tell us about how your tank is going. Like, okay, so first off, guys, I've done maybe like 4 or 5 videos of this guy's tank. It's a 220-ish gallon SPS dominated. It's mixed reef, but it's
mixed.
SPS dominated.
Less mixed after I brought all that frog spawn in.
Yeah.
But I replaced it with other euphilia.
Oh, really? What kind of euphilia?
A torch, a hammer, a octospawn.
Okay.
Maybe
All
2
right.
hammers. 2 hammers, yeah. So, but the tank's doing pretty well. It's summer and I'm less attentive to it, cleaning the glass not as often, but it's doing well. I installed one of those Alktronics automatic alkalinity monitors, or testers really, and that's done real well.
What brand makes that?
The Alktronic, I think the website, like the home website's Focustronic.
Oh, so it's not like one of the known aquarium
It's not,
brands.
yeah, no, it's kind of a newer. I think they've made lights in the past, and then it was actually designed by a hobbyist in Sweden and Norway, and he actually documented the whole design process, and the thread was on Reef to Reef. But now that it's commercialized, I think they yanked the thread.
Oh,
Like, you gotta pay sponsor, which I understand. But they're on Facebook and some other places. It can test anywhere from every 2 hours to every 12 hours. If it gets a reading out of the lower high range, it will test every 2 hours until it's back within the range. And it has its own dosing pump if it needs to correct if you're in the low range. It has this other piece that I have not used that connects to Bluetooth to the unit that'll shut off the socket, the electric socket to your dosing pump if it's in the high range. So if it says, oh, it's too high, we're going to shut the dosing pump off until we're back within range.
gotcha.
So
That's kinda cool.
Yeah, and I just like using it for that's the component of water chemistry that changes the most for me. Drastically the fastest. So I have been testing less now that that's on, but when I test with the test kits, the alkalinity's right there. So
is it as accurate, you would say?
yes, yeah, I'd say as accurate, if not more so. Taking the human element out of it. So What's up with the banner blocking the coral?
Yeah, we're not
And my
technically...
hair. And my hair. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
your chair's like super high.
Is it?
Well, I mean, it just is. It's like 3 inches high. Oh, yeah. Do you know Matt from Jayo Nation? He's another YouTuber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He wanted to be
Higher up. I'm like,
He's playing those mind games.
weird.
I know of him. I shouldn't say I know him. I've never met him.
He's a cool guy. He's a cool guy.
I watched some of his YouTube videos after he was here.
All right, how many people are on? I've got like 75, it looks like. Oh, you can see on both things. That's kind of neat. I wonder if that's new. So again, new stuff, new website. This is a new broadcasting, new version of the broadcasting software. So like, if they've got some bugs, good luck us. Nice knowing us. Yeah, the new site's been kind of an interesting little hurdle unto itself, because there's like new little things that we just never ever had to deal with before, like just setting up email. Like you wouldn't think that that's a big deal, but it's a big deal when the emails aren't getting delivered.
That's
a big deal. So people are like, yeah, I can't get confirmation emails. Oh.
For a web-based business, essentially?
Right. It's like, oh, yeah, we can't create an account because we're not getting the confirmation emails to then click on to activate it, that sort of thing. Here, want me to fix that for you?
I got it.
All right. So that was interesting. Then earlier today, somebody had a problem checking out. And it's like, well, that's a weird error. And then we had to look it up. It's like, oh, it's because of some weird authentication thing that we have to manually do every 30 days. I'm like, huh, that's new.
New chore list.
Yeah, it's like, didn't know about that. So anyway, there's all kinds of little headaches.
When
and
did the
fun
new
stuff.
website actually go live?
About a month ago.
Okay.
Yeah. So guys, if for those participating in the actual sales portion, you have to create a new account. So good luck with that.
Get on that.
Or you could check out as a guest. That's true.
Make sure after you put in your address information, click the update button.
No, you want them to create an account. That way you can sell their information, track them better.
You guys will figure it out.
Send the drones.
I have complete faith in you guys. Okay, so we're about to start here. Before we get going, have to say a quick thank you to the Patreon crowd. These guys have all donated in some monetary fashion. So usually it's after the $5 per month price point that they get a shout out on the live show. So thank you very much, Mark Nadier, Christopher Curry, Alan Jackson, Trevor Overbeck, Kevin Cortez, Samuel Jolson, Phil Cusimano, Robert Moore, Ryan Kern, and Dave Davis. Thank you guys so much. Any and all help that we can get, I'll take, because we're building a new building right now.
I saw your bills outside. Your stack of bills. It's a giant stack of bills.
Yeah, and they're getting bigger. Like now that certain things are kind of getting done, we can then pay more for the other stuff that we were waiting on.
Are you going to name the building something like the Taj Mahal of coral propagation? I would have to doubt that there's a bigger coral propagation
It's
facility.
pretty big. It's pretty big.
Like my house, I named it Fort Awesome. Are you gonna name your? That's from News Radio. That's one of my favorite.
Fort
shows.
Awesome.
Joe Rogan was on News Radio.
I do remember
long
that.
before.
For the folks that are new to this as well, as to like how does this work? This is for the U.S. crowd only, unfortunately. So the live show takes place in 2 different places on YouTube. But if you would like to purchase stuff, you go to tidalgardens.com/live. You have to completely check out with the items that you want. So in the background, there's item number 1. So if you wanted that particular coral, you put that in your shopping cart, check out like normal. Shipping is a flat rate $39.99, and it's free after $250. And because you have to check out each time, you have go ahead and select like local pickup / add to another order / live sale, all that fun stuff. Just so you don't get charged like multiple times for shipping. All right, I will go over all that again.
We said it's for U.S. only, but the international crowd's welcome to share in the revelry and wit, correct?
Absolutely.
All right.
And it's probably later in the day for them, so it's probably more appropriate for them to be drinking.
I spent more time drinking than with my kids already today with other stuff I've been running around doing this morning.
I can imagine.
But we'll
make
make
it.
that
We'll make it.
this afternoon, evening.
It's good? All right, let's go ahead and get started then. All right, and if you see any interesting comments that you'd like to respond to, hop right in.
Rule number 1.
All right, and let's go with like a pretty quick shot clock here, like about 20 seconds tops. Don't want to spend too much time on anything here. You need to get past our drinking. So welcome everyone. I was really hoping to do a live sale last month, but it wasn't going to happen because we were super busy with the new building,
Rule number 2.
super busy with just building the new website. I mean, we had to crank that thing out in like maybe 2 weeks, and that's an absurd amount of work. And then to have it all actually function once you're done, it was a process, definitely a process.
It's a lack of beer, but we're not lacking in Jack.
Any gold euphilias? I don't think on this show, no.
Number 3.
I did see one for the first time in a really long time, and I did purchase it to shoot a video of it. But just so you know, like gold torches especially, generally speaking, do kind of poorly. There's more contractors showing up. It's Saturday, and there's 2 different contractors that have showed up already.
You must have been getting on them.
You have no idea.
There's
idea.
a reason they're here.
So one of the contractors is a painter that he was just like a walk-in customer, and he just happened to mention, it's like, hey, that new building's going up. It's looking great, you know. If you need anything painted, just let me know, and we can maybe work something out in a deal. And I was like,
Coral?
How much coral do you want? Because we could do a lot. Because there's 1 million square feet of stuff to paint here.
There's a lot of wall space.
So it's like however much you want to paint, I will compensate you with corals.
Yep.
So hopefully, we can get that going. And he's been here for like a couple weeks now, still painting. Dan, it's 2 a.m. here in Singapore. Please ship free corals. You don't need anything from me. You guys are living in a pretty nice neck of the woods. I'm kind of jealous. One of my friends around here, her kids are right now like doing like some vacation throughout Asia, and they're in Singapore right now, and I am so jealous of her kids. It's not even funny. It's like, why don't you send me? Vision Robs Aquatics. Free shipping after $250 is a very good deal. Yeah, it's a really good deal, especially now, because FedEx increased their rates, and they were not that good before. They were like manageable before, but they're like just a little bit higher now. So not so great. Number 7. This is 7, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So Daniel, how many people are we expecting in the barbecue in July? I think it's going to be like, the max is going to be about 70 something, but I think that of the people that have signed up, about 50 something.
What's the I'm out of the loop. What's the barbecue event you're doing?
So there's a few different events. So CC is coming, I think later in the year. But another YouTuber's name's Rico's Aquariums. It was Rico's Reef Tank, and I think that his channel got banned because of the word reef. Like, YouTube started cracking down really hard on anything drug related, and so unfortunately
It
anything.
doesn't have the ER on the end. Reefer.
Yeah, so I think that like that caused all these people just to get like whacked.
Wow.
Because there was like a girl named Coral Reefer that had a very 420 friendly channel. She got banned. And then so like just Rico's Reef Tank, banned, very likely. Little overexposed there, Ben. So he lost his channel. But anyway, before he lost his channel and had to start up a new one, he suggested to like his crowd, like, what do you guys think about having like an in-person meetup at Tidal Gardens? And it started to just gain some momentum. So like a lot of other aquarium-related YouTubers wanted to come as well. And so like once we figured out a date, like people started buying plane tickets and stuff like that.
Well, that's nice.
So yeah, it's going to be looking like a good time. So if you guys are interested in finding some more details about that, the sign up is free, but
Minimum purchase applies. No, just kidding.
there's going to be a tip jar for the food. I'm trying to think of what's the thing. I think it's like tidalgardens.eventbrite.com is the place to go. So somebody in chat, let me know if that's at all accurate. tidalgardens.eventbrite.com.
Number 11.
So somebody let me know if that link works. All the weed tubers got their channels back. Oh, okay.
Weed tubers.
But I don't think Rico's got his channel back.
Bummer.
Can I get some Coke, please?
No, you're good.
Please.
You're good.
Oh man. So the other thing that was cool that I did, I don't know if you followed on social media, but I attended like the Shed Aquarium fundraising
I
gala.
saw a couple pictures of you in a flashy tux, and
That was a good time.
I knew you were there, and
That was a really, really good time.
I was actually at.
12.
I wasn't the Shed Aquarium Gala, but I was out there in November for work, and I took some time, went over there. I've been there a
nice.
few times. It's a great place.
Are people smoking cigarettes out there?
It's swag for these guys.
Oh, great. There's like just too much stuff going on here. Like, you know what? Whatever. I'll deal with it. I'm just gonna get smashed. That's how I'm gonna
I'll
deal with
deal
it, guys.
Number 13.
Monye McNamee, can I crash on your couch? You don't want to crash on my couch. You'll fall victim to,
Cats will rip your face off.
yeah, my cats will deal with you. Hey Than, do you know about Euphilia white bugs? They're making my golden torch shrink up and bubbly and not growing.
I've had those.
I've had white bugs. I don't know if they're necessarily Euphilia specific ones.
Number 14.
We always called them potato bugs because they're just kind of like this grayish, potato shaped things. They'd multiply like crazy and kill large polyp stony corals.
I've had them on Euphilia. I call them Euphilia bugs.
Okay, maybe we're thinking of something different then.
Because they did that exactly. They'd get on there, you'd see them on there, and the Euphilia would shrink up. I forget if it was a frog spawn or not, or a hammer, but it would shrink up. What I ended up doing with it was multiple dips in Bear, that insect killer that a lot of people use for coral dip. And I did it like once every 5 or 6 days, and after doing like 3 successive treatments of it, they had died.
It's surprising to me that you had to do that at all, because I know your tank has a ton of wrasses.
This was this was back when I had the 93 cube, but I
Okay.
believe I still had leopard wrasses, but I didn't have any other wrasse.
Okay, maybe that was the issue, because guys, like, what I've noticed is most of those like pod type problems,
Number 16.
or pretty much like any kind of like nudibranch problem got just handled once I started developing like a wrasse army. Like I just simply don't have those issues because I mean even when we did find like Montipora eating nudibranchs, which in the past I would try to dip, I don't know, like 50 times in 3 months, and I would still have some of these nudibranch issues. We just now put them into a tank that has now like a leopard wrasse, a millinaris wrasse, a chorus wrasse, and like one other, and immediately like those problems ended.
Number 17.
But there's another. This was back before people were dosing Sentinel or Interceptor, the flea killer medication, and I think that's effective as well. So if you don't want to take the coral out to do successive dips, if you look up how to treat red bugs, I think it will be as effective as treating red bugs.
Okay.
So you can follow those directions.
Yeah, I've dipped with what do you call it? I've dipped with the white stuff, Bayer.
Yeah,
that stuff
liquid.
that's pretty aggressive.
Yeah, that handles things. I just did successive dip. I did one. The first time I did one dip and let it go, and the bugs disappeared for a while, but then they came back. So I did the multiple every 5-day dip 3 or 4 times, and that seemed to handle all the eggs that may have hatched after the dip. So that's where I'd start.
I think that because of the way that our systems are here, it's so difficult to really stick with that type of regimen.
Yes.
And then stuff moves between tanks. But I think for a home hobbyist, it'll be a lot easier to manage just by
I agree.
committing to like that regimen.
Yeah.
Just every
And it
few
depends on the
days.
size of the colony and how it's attached to your aquarium, whether or not you want to take it out or not. Now,
Well-
Interceptor will kill, if you dose your tank with Interceptor, that'll kill other small.
Pods and things like
Yeah.
that for sure. I'm trying to think if we've ever even used Interceptor.
Number 19.
I don't think we have.
Actually, hold on, I gotta move.
So, Dubsy Dabster is asking, will a yellow chorus wrasse kill my cleaner shrimp? I guess it's always possible that these wrasses will kill a cleaner. In my experience, that hasn't been the case at all. Like, we have a pretty much a cleaner in every single tank. And, yeah, and we have tons of wrasses, so not really. But I guess it's always possible. Also, we're going to be buying, like, excuse me, a ton of peppermint shrimp. And that is kind of a worry that's going through my head because our wrasses are getting quite large. And all of these little red wrasses are about the same size, or I'm sorry, red shrimp are like the same size as the krill that we feed the tanks. So
Be careful with peppermint shrimp and bounce mushrooms.
really,
Interesting.
They've been known to. They have eaten the bubbles off of them.
interesting, because the bounce mushroom that we got from you, the OG bounce, is really struggling. And
Are there
but
peppermint shrimp in there?
ironically, I think no. Like I think our peppermints died in there, and so I think our problem started happening.
Bounce poison because they ate. No, I'm just kidding.
I hope not.
We'll have to take a look at that.
Yeah, because they're both trying to detach from their substrate.
You've had them a while too, right?
And
Yeah,
then,
it's been a long time.
but the wanting to detach thing is kind of a new, ongoing problem.
Number 21.
Well, peppermint shrimp eat coral after they finish with eptasia, because that's what the guy at my fish store told me. Not likely. Not too likely, no. I mean, peppermint shrimp in general have been known to bother some corals, but it's kind of like an outlier type behavior. Okay, so what do you recommend for flatworms? They've gotten out of hand in my reef tank.
Number 22.
What would you say about flatworms? Best way?
Um,
Kind of depends on which kind, too.
various wrasses again.
Yeah, wrasses could help. Certain damsels can help.
I can't recall which wrasse that I've heard is very effective at taking them out.
So far, like Melanaris wrasses have been like my ultimate workhorse favorite.
It might be a Melanaris.
Dealing with problems wrasse. What you looking for, Ben?
It's not gonna my order yet.
Hmm.
So I'm not even seeing if I hit the checkout page, so I don't know if it's just slow or if everything's okay.
Let me see.
Number 23.
Number 23. Vision Rob's Aquatic. Let me guess, how much the new building is going to cost complete with all tanks and equipment? My guess is $1 million. Am I correct? I don't know because I don't want to look.
Let's go make some interior design
I don't wanna look.
selections and
I
see
don't
if
wanna
we
look.
can't get there.
Also, the price of materials has gone up because of all like the tariff stuff that's going on.
Yep.
So luckily, most of our actual building is already built. Otherwise, I could have spent 20 to 40% more
Lumber, yeah.
on just like lumber and metal. Am I drinking wine? No, this is Jack and Coke. Yeah.
Yeah. Classy way to drink it.
It's all right.
Number 25.
Having all those wrasses, do you have a problem with jumpers? The only ones that really jump on us are the yellow chorus wrasses. They are like, here, they're notorious for jumping. So in our future systems, I'm looking at just having lids on all the tanks for the evenings. We'll take the lids off during the day when we are working on the tanks. But yeah, like for the evenings, I think it'll help with both like humidity control and also with those fish jumping out.
Number 26. Not cooperating well.
A little closed. So how long have you had that that automated testing and dosing thing? And it does calcium alkalinity?
No, it only tests alkalinity.
Only alkalinity.
Correct.
Okay.
I'd say I've had it at least 3 months.
How does it do that without a reagent?
It has a reagent.
Okay.
It pumps. I have a little container off on the side that it pumps reagent from.
27.
It has a reagent and a pH probe, and it's measuring something to do with the pH of it, obviously. And it doses. That brings in the tank water. Then it starts adding reagent, and then as it gets closer to the level it's trying to get down to with the reagent, it slowly doses it, and it has a little electronic or magnetic pill that does the mixing in the test vial, and then it slowly adds little bits of reagent until it hits that level, and then it calculates what the alkalinity is. And I've found it very accurate. I found it. Even after I've changed reagent, or you get a concentrate of the reagent and you mix it with RO water, and I've done various things to change things, and it continues to be very accurate. So
Was it a very expensive unit to get into?
I think it was $700, $800.
700.
Yeah.
And the reagents, how much?
The reagent came in. I forget if it was a gallon or
Number 29.
or a liter. It was bigger than a liter. I don't know, but it was like $120. But it's the concentrate, and it's going to last me probably a year and a half, 2 years.
Okay.
So
And Nathan's got a pretty decent sized tank with a pretty decent sized load of.
yeah, the alkalinity goes. I would guess that it'll drop by close to 2.0 DKH within a day or two, day and a half. So it'll go from 8 to 6 if it's not getting any alkalinity.
Wow.
So that's why I wanted something. That was testing to say, hey, guess what? Your elk's dropping big time, because I was having issues where a dosing pump wasn't working right, or I ran out of alkalinity solution in the bucket that I have it in, and then just wasn't aware. So, and when that would happen, it wouldn't be within a day or two, but within a couple days, it would start. You'd see colors go off on the SPS or have some issues with just recession, and it would take a month or month and a half to get back to where they were previous to that. So I wanted to end that. Those they're little setbacks, but they had lasting effects for a while.
Yeah.
It took time to recover.
So why would this new system fixes that issue? I mean, because I don't quite understand. Like, if a dosing pump fails, or
I'll know within 8 hours to 16 hours that, hey, my alkalinity's dropping. It's below my range now, and I'm going to find out rather than if it happened on a Monday afternoon, I'm at work, kids baseball, this and that. I don't test. I'll know within a day. Where I was testing once a week, even if I was testing twice a week.
Because it's a testing knowledge thing.
Yes. So I get it. I can get the readout on my phone, and so even if I had waited 3 days, my alkalinity could drop from 8.5 down to like 6 or 5.5, and things aren't happy.
I guess I was just thinking, like, if there was like a failure in the dosing systems that you were previously using, a similar problem could happen with this new unit. And
yeah, so this new unit, if I can keep it dialed in, doesn't do any dosing. So if my dosing pump does mess up, it's kind of like a backup to correct things.
Okay.
It's not. It's the Alkatronic is not my primary source of dosing alkalinity.
That's I think that's the missing part of the puzzle that I wasn't getting. Okay,
it's the corrective and the alert. Unit.
I like that. I like that a lot.
So if I run out of alk solution, then I'm dumb and that's my fault. But I'll still know within a day.
I think you just increased my new building bill by about $2,800.
Yeah, each system, get one for each system, and they're actually, I'm following that manufacturer, and they're coming out with a full line dosing system pumps. A multi-pump dosing system that'll tie in with that Alkatronic.
What magnification are these images? That's a tough question to answer. Like, I'll give you the technically correct answer.
Depends on the size of your screen, right?
It's 1:1. That is the macro lens. However, it's not a great question, but the size of the plug that you see, most of those are 1 inch.
Inch and a quarter, roughly.
Yeah, about an inch. So you can kind of get an idea of that. Because somebody said, like, on my screen, these corals look bigger. I'm like, yeah, dummy. On your phone, they look smaller. Like, come on.
And on this glorious sized monitor, they look fantastic.
What's the appropriate light level for Chalice to maintain its color? It's so difficult to say based on what chalice it is, because chalices, there are so many different chalices that you can almost not consolidate them all into like one type of care requirement even.
Yeah, there's so many species that are called chalices that...
They're different genus too. Like Lithophyllum, that's a chalice now? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Oxypora, that's a chalice. Like Echinopora, so many different ones.
Max out at 200 and par and try 80 par. I'd say start at like 100 par or less.
Chances are it's not the lighting that's holding back the coloration of the coral. It's more likely spectrum and chemistry.
Yeah, they will oftentimes, unless they're just getting blasted, they will adapt.
Screen okay, strong? 1080 going okay?
I think so. Okay, so this guy's like, I just got a pair of Picasso clownfish. I don't know anything about fish, all right? Any advice on keeping a pair, and will peppermint shrimp clean parasites off of them? Peppermint shrimp aren't great at cleaning fish.
I'd get a cleaner or a skunk shrimp, right?
I get a skunk cleaner if you wanted them to actually. This is 37, Ben?
37.
Okay.
Hey, let's do a country roll call.
Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so I see 130. Well, it says, yeah, okay, so there's 134 currently hanging out with us. So real quick, let me know what country you guys are all from, if you would please. Oh, by the way, hello, Lawson. Lawson was my buddy that went to the Chicago Shed Aquarium Gala with me. It was like, I didn't know who I was gonna ask to do that, and just him knowing that I was gonna go, he's like, hey, if I can be your +1, I'll pay for the hotel. And so I'm like, sold.
He bought his invitation.
Sold. And so it's actually kind of funny because I vacation with Lawson and his wife Suzanne all the time. And occasionally I'll vacation with one and not the other. And the other one always gets bent out of shape. So like in this past trip, Lawson like has hell to pay with his wife. Wife is not happy. And also Lawson, it probably didn't help that she took all the booze on the trip.
You took care of.
And you also paid for the hotel with points that like I think she wanted to use for for something else entirely. But then like a few years ago, she and I and another friend went to Okinawa while he had to do something else. And so he was all bent out of shape over that. But it's like, got to take the vacations when they come.
Yeah.
Look at all these different countries.
Was the reception in like a really big windowed room that looked out over the lake?
That was where the show was. It's the Oceanarium.
That's where they
do the dolphins and all that stuff.
Yeah, a family friend of ours got married. Maybe it was at the planetarium. Never mind.
Had nothing to do with the aquarium at all.
Well, it was real close.
Oh, okay.
It's real close to in Chicago and they had this big viewing room, big windows. But yes, no, it was the wrong facility. But same general area.
Chicago's got some cool stuff, like cool, big institutions going on.
Yes, and right then they have them in a nice spot right there on the lake.
Mm-hmm. So at this fundraiser, they had this like professional MC guy to try to solicit donations from like all the guests, right? And Lawson was like, I've seen this guy before because he went to a Humane Society event in Detroit, and he was saying how like I know this guy because from that event. It's like
he tours the country.
Yeah, he's like a professional money getter.
Big wig donation.
It's like he's like some upper crust. Get that money from these people, guy. But
what a niche market.
But yeah, he's doing all right, I guess, because like he said at this Detroit event. First of all,
to get a cut of it.
Like first of all, like the donations started way higher in Chicago. And they ended way sooner. So they weren't asking people for like $50 at the end. Like they started at like 25 grand. And then they worked their all the way down. But anyway, this guy at the Detroit event for the Humane Society brought out a 3-legged dog to guilt all these people. It's like, how can you not
donate now or this dog gets it?
It's got 3 legs, people.
I'm gonna start with the next leg. I'm gonna take the next leg first.
It was, yeah. But this guy, so I don't know like how into memes you guys are, but do you know who the BitConnect guy is?
I'd probably recognize the meme, but
it's like BitConnect. Okay, trust me. After this show, guys, Google BitConnect. Y'all thank me later for that.
Is this remind you of the MC?
Yeah.
BitConnect. This Jack and Coke's going down pretty quick here.
We'll make it.
You'll have to tell my wife. Well, you're drinking too. The audience will have to say. My wife says I get louder as I drink. My laugh especially.
We'll have to like.
Yeah. Let's
lean on that.
Volume. Is there an auto adjust on there?
No. Well, maybe. All right, I'm sure that we missed a whole bunch of chitter chats.
Well, let's go see the countries.
Okay, real quick. So we got England, Kekistan. Come on now. America, lots of America, South Africa, UK, Germany, Canada, Singapore,
Hong Kong,
Malaysia, Texas. Of course, that's its own country. from SC Reefer. Lithuania. Okay.
You know, they're solely here for the wit. You know, because they can't buy anything.
No.
I guess they could get some information, but what's the fun in that? They're just here for the banter.
Number 46.
How many corals you got today?
250. I'm familiar with BitConnect. It's like the most like what do you call it? It's like one of those cryptocurrency scams. And it's so like, it's so over the top that like, oh man.
BitConnect Mimi.
Number 47.
I think all those guys are like, they're in court and probably heading to jail.
Oh, I know of BitConnect now that you say that. Were they the ones that were hyping it up big time? And
Oh yeah, they definitely did.
is this the,
That's him. Yeah. It's like, I make $1,000 every single day. I am financially. Oh, that's the musical version of it.
remix?
Number 48.
Oh, that's awful.
It's Disney.
Oh, that's terrible. Do you ever rewatch old live sales and laugh on how trashed you or your guests get? Occasionally, I don't typically go back like that far, but I have recently. What are you doing?
My
What are
phone
you
keeps
doing?
playing videos.
Oh, that's great. That's great. But I did rewatch the one with Matt. That one was that one's a good one. It's like you can just see the number of viewers just dropping.
As you drink, as the
Oh no, it's like the screaming noise on your phone. It's like they've had enough.
we're out. We're out.
Number 50.
Slovakia.
Yeah, Bubba Shinobi's like, I just saw the BitConnect meme. Senator, I cannot sign into your site. Do you have to create a new account for the new site? Yes. Please create a new account. Yeah. So going to the new platform, it didn't retain any of the customer data, and just for security purposes, you won't want us to do that. So just go ahead and create another one.
You watch Westworld?
Number 51.
I did binge a whole bunch of it lately. Yes. Of the season 2 stuff.
Are you caught up?
Almost. I'm up like episode like 7 or 8.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I was just you're keeping customer data.
Oh.
to-
You know, I don't know how much. Do you like the second season of Westworld as much as like the first?
At times, I think they got a little too much going on in different realities and layers, which I didn't find hard to follow. But I just thought, I'd like to. It depends. I mean, it's leading up to the last It's to the last episode, right?
I think maybe. Could be.
So I hate I don't want to judge it until
See the whole
it's
thing.
wrapped up.
Right, because I think that like in season 1, the last episode was clearly like the best. In my
Exactly.
opinion. It was so good.
I found every episode entertaining, and there hasn't been one. I've always been ready to watch it.
Yeah.
When I can. So
No, it's a good show.
that's a nice Fabia.
Yeah. got that one for this guy.
Oh, hey,
Right.
I do have it. It is a cool fob, yeah.
Number 53.
53. Let's see. Do you sell high-end stuff like Homewrecker, Walt Disney, OG Bounce? Well, I have an OG Bounce. It's not doing very well right now. I need to do something about that. And as far as like the really high-end acros, not so much. That'll be for the new building.
Let me know when you want the home wrecker.
Dean Tahara, do you ship to Hawaii? No, we don't. There's like some legal issues with doing that.
Number 54.
It's like, thanks for the visuals on this Saturday afternoon. I have my 65-inch TV watching this. Well, thank you for joining us. I have equipment laying around for a calcium reactor, but I have a nanocube. Should I just use it or go two-part? I mean, for a nanocube, you probably don't even need to do much of anything. Like,
Yeah, I don't know a whole lot about calcium reactors, but can you even dial it down that little?
kinda. Yeah, you probably could. It's just the cost benefit is like way off.
Yeah.
And you could literally get all of the benefits by doing a tiny water change once a week. Do you ship to Europe? Sorry, I don't. US only. Shipping, especially nowadays, shipping internationally is a little complicated. It was complicated already to the point that I didn't want to do it, but especially now it's an ordeal.
Number 56.
So, are you thinking of getting a new tank?
Am I?
Yeah, you were thinking
I'm
about
always
it at one
thinking
point.
about getting a new tank. Am I getting a new tank? That's the question.
Yeah. So, are you getting a new tank?
Not in the near future.
So, this guy recently did an expansion on his house,
Yeah.
which
Basically
frees up space for.
almost doubled the size of the house. So, but that's part of the reason why I'm not thinking about getting a new tank right now, because the expense of doing that.
Yeah.
And then my wife and I, we're taking our kids to. Our plan is to take the kids to Hawaii in 2020. My wife always wanted to go back to Hawaii for our 10-year wedding anniversary, which happens to be this year. But I want to take the kids as well, and they're 5 and 7. So I figured give them a couple more years, give us a couple more years to kind of get past this home edition cost expenses. So that's priority number 1. Priority number 2 is the tank. So,
Not college.
no, the kids are further out. You know, you can always you can scrape up money for college at any point, right? So yes, I do want to do a bigger tank. I'm thinking 10 feet long, but it might be acquiring components for it over time, but it's not happening anytime within the next few months.
So one of the glass manufacturers that I spoke with said that the sheets of low iron glass, the largest that they come in is 10 feet 6 inches. So, like, you're basically paying for the entire 10
Might as well just
6.
get
You might as well just get 10 6 rather than, because I was asking for 144.
Let's clip this portion of the video for when I'm telling Amber how big the tank's going to be.
No, it's not 10 feet. It's like it's the same cost for like a smaller tank.
Yeah, I mean, why would you do that?
Like, I'm just throwing glass.
Amber,
around
I'm a
now.
financial planner. Trust me, it makes sense to go 10.6.
Glass is expensive.
Yes, I am. I'm renting 777 on Reef to Reef, Reef Central, CC Forum. So, I just saw that question.
Does anybody go to those forums anymore?
I'm on Reef to Reef quite a bit, and I keep I don't update as often as I'd like, but I just like to take pictures, put it on there for my own reference going back over time. It's nice to force yourself to do that because it's fun to look back over time and just like, holy smokes, I got my tank look like that. Just like watching your YouTube videos of my
Yeah.
tank. It's amazing what's transpired.
What's different?
Yeah.
Because the other thing is, and by the way, this is good advice for anybody out there to like kind of take a picture and video log of your tank, because you remember stuff differently. And to finally go back, even with these live shows, like I can tell what month it is sometimes just based on what the corals are looking like. Having said that, that's Sophastria.
You got a meteor shower again.
Yeah, it looks about as good as it's ever gonna look, especially this late into the summer. Like usually
Late into the summer. Summer just officially started.
Yeah, usually they're all dead by now.
Get them while they're live.
Yeah.
Not get them while they're hot. Get them while they're alive.
Yeah, so if you go 10.6, you save on that cutting cost. Yeah. So, because I was also asking you, because originally I wanted a 12-foot tank, right? So that'd be 144 inches. And this guy was saying, you can do 144. The problem is anything over 10.6 requires a completely different specialized manufacturing process. So the marginal cost of like that little bit extra is going to add a multiplier on all of the inches.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so like if you wanted to have like a giant 25-foot long tank,
Well, I do, but this.
then you would go to this. But if you wanted like a slightly bigger than a 10.6 tank,
It's not. Financially, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
right, it is a poor value.
Let me run the numbers. 4-foot high tank would be a nightmare
To clean.
for me. Well, not to clean. Well, to
Do anything.
position corals, change things, and
Catch a fish.
Yeah. Wow.
No,
it's
anyway.
still a nightmare. You just gotta hope you get lucky with a fish trap. But like when stuff on the sand bed, chalices, that kind of stuff, and something inevitably will. Do you have people on the roof?
Why?
He's got a ladder up over there. He is on.
Okay.
Um,
There's carpenters on the roof now.
wrong building, guys. Wrong building.
Number 63.
We're on 63.
63.
But invariably, a fish or a
Really?
crab or something's gonna knock something
I screwed
over.
up then. Okay. Somehow, so this should be a Dragon Rider Monte, is that right?
Correct.
That's
All right.
pretty.
So I messed up somewhere along the line. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry for the confusion.
And let somebody get a 4-foot tank and let someone else clean it. Now we're talking.
Yeah. Automation. Robots. I'm really looking forward to like the robot apocalypse. I can't wait. Because we get to like get all the cool automated stuff before they all turn into Terminators.
Yeah, that's true. We get the peak benefits right before disaster.
I was looking at like this robot kitchen that like cooks food for you, and then washes the dishes when it's done and stuff, cleans up after itself. I'm like, dang. It's like that's way better than cooking for myself.
It's fancier than your toilet seats.
Yeah, my toilet's pretty fancy.
Yeah.
DEA raiding the greenhouse.
Crashing through the roof.
It's like, guys, it ain't that tall. You don't need to zip line from it.
Yeah. Doors open, guys. Roomba kills you.
My Roombas are pretty dumb, though. I mean,
At this stage in the game,
they're pretty dumb.
they're dumb for a reason, Dan. Because one of them killed a lab worker, and they decided to keep him dumb.
Yeah.
They ratcheted up its intelligence, and it was disaster.
But like as far as like a reef aquarium automation, I was always worried about like the automation itself malfunctioning and causing issues. But I guess like if you have enough redundancies built in and things like that, it's not that bad.
So I have my automatic water changes, and I'm always worried about like one of the pumps not pumping as much as the other, and the salinity getting thrown off. So I ended up getting a salinity probe, and that kind of helps make sure I'm within range. The alkalinity would also be changing at a more dramatic rate.
Now,
so.
are those accurate?
Or what?
The salinity probes?
I'm guessing. the one with the apex, I figured that they were relatively accurate. You know, if you're gonna know, I would think you're gonna know if something's off. You know, it might not have the exact reading of your salinity, but if it's dropped to like 1.015 or something like that, you'll know.
Yes, that would be suspicious.
Yes, so I'm not looking for lab grade scientific charting of parameters. I'm looking for hey, I think something's off.
Something terrible just happened.
Yes, yeah. Hey, you might want to check that when you get home, or you might want to go home now. And that's why, you know, I have a webcam on the so I can check in if something's weird going on.
What do you have it pointed at?
My webcam?
Just your tank, or
just
is it
my
like,
aquariums?
Okay.
Yeah. So if something was acting up, or the apex or something was getting a strange reading, I could pop that on and see where the water levels were in the tank to make sure that, you know, they're where they're supposed to be for, you know, for the return pump to be working, or if they were low or bubbles are blasting, then I know something's up.
So one weird thing that we have going on out here is like sometimes we have spawning events, and it's always like sometimes we walk in and like we let the RO go for too long or something, and so there's like a flood on the ground. In a greenhouse, I don't really care. But so there's a flood on the ground. It's like, oh no, did a tank overflow? Oh no, that's just the RO system. But then I look over and like one entire system, like 1,000 gallons, is completely clouded.
Yeah.
I'm like, what happened here?
Yeah.
And it's like all the snails are right at the top of the water, and like because like the snails I think had spawned.
Yep.
And like all of like the little mollusks and feather dusters and stuff like that are like triple the size.
Yep.
You're just like
dinner's on, boys.
Just loving all of that.
A lot of times the skimmer will be, when that happens, you come home and you're like, why is the skimmer overflowing? What the hell? And then you can see that, oh, it was cloudy for a while.
So much like that, I don't know, like just something as simple as a protein skimmer. I mean, people, I think, don't understand how much maintenance even something like that requires. Because anything that throws off the mix of water and air, that throws off your skimmer. So sometimes like I see like, oh, the skimmer's not skimming quite right, so you start adjusting the valves and stuff. It's like
2 hours later, overflow.
Right.
Because you adjusted it.
Right. Or the one day that you finally do go in there and clean the pump out and everything like that, then you plug everything in, it's set to where it was all screwed up.
Yeah.
And now you have another, you know, salt volcano going off in your tank.
My system's like 350 some gallons total with the 2 tanks and sump, I would guess. And just feeding 1 cube of PE mysis, well, I don't rinse it or anything. I thaw it and I dump it in. It will collapse my skimmer bubble foam for 2 to 3 hours. Mm-hmm. So I feed it every morning, and I just know the skimmer's going to collapse for a while. Just the oils in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that happens here as well. Like anything like that. But like we were, we had one issue with one of our tanks almost overflowing because the skimmer output goes there, and because the air intake was getting more and more blocked. Well, it means less air, more water. Mm-hmm. So it's just pumping in more water. Yeah, just pumping just straight water into there, and it's not draining fast enough. So it was like a 1/4 inch from the lid, from the not the lid, from the
rim of the aquarium.
Yeah, from the rim of the aquarium, which is saying a lot because it's a 300-gallon thing. So it was like this far. So are there any other things of automation that you would consider in your tank that you're currently not using?
The only thing that I've thought about over time was just a dry food feeder, automated feeder. But
I don't know why people don't use those more.
I don't. I feed in the morning and at night, and that's pretty good for me. Because I feed a lot of frozen, so I'm thawing it out.
Yeah.
In fact, both meals, I'm never just feeding dry food. But my Achilles tank does eat both the flake and the Sustainable Aquatics dry hatchery pellets, which I feed. So,
you know, one thing that I've been really liking more and more and more is the Hikari spirulina.
Oh yeah, I feed that every meal.
Yeah, like the little
Spirulina
round
rich
things.
brine. Oh,
No. It's like it's just the pellets.
spirulina.
Yeah, because I noticed that my tangs tend to get like really like thin and kind of their stomachs look a little indented. And we feed quite a lot here, but I think it's
Can I
like
try these?
yeah. So here, show to the camera real quick. Yeah, it's like that stuff that we use.
Goes down smooth with some Jack and Coke. You know, I'm taking a food-based multivitamin, and it has spirulina in it.
It's like a superfood.
I feed my fish what I feed myself.
If you look at like what we actually feed our fish and stuff and what we typically eat,
The fish are getting much more
they're-
nutritious.
they're eating like lobster and all this stuff. I'm eating like ramen noodles and
Yeah, Jack and Coke.
pasta.
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, I noticed that there was like some dietary deficiencies with my tangs, and that's why after throwing this in, that really helped with that.
I gotta try this and see if my Achilles will eat it.
Your Achilles, I'm sure.
He does not eat any other type of pellet except for the sustainable dry hatchery diet. But this is different. This is all seaweed.
Yes, that's pure seaweed, and it's also like the perfect weight that it kind of like hangs out in the water column.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah, I am surprised that like more reef keepers don't have those auto feeders because they're really cheap too, like $50. Didn't you practice law, Than? I did not actually practice law. Did you catch the Judiciary Oversight Committee hearings with Horowitz this week? I did not. What was the summary of that? We get our fish. Okay, so Ecomarines is a wholesaler in the UK. Does a lot with fish. We get our fish off frozen as quickly as possible. Interesting.
Fascinating.
I mean, I think that there's the arguments I've always heard about going to like pellets and stuff versus frozen is that they're actually more nutritionally complete.
You can jam all that into a pellet.
And I guess like it depends on how frozen food is frozen as far as like how much it retains as far as nutritional composition. Like I have heard that like just the freezing process destroys a lot of the nutritional value.
The only fish that will not eat any prepared like dry foods, pellets or flakes is the copper band.
Right.
Even my file fish eats the sustainable aquatics pellets.
Right. Copper band, you're kind of it's doing its own thing.
Yeah.
Like we have cardinals here and there. Like those don't really do a whole lot with pellets.
But it's interesting. I like that comment.
Yeah.
500 on an eclectus. Pretty good deal.
Yeah. Would you risk having an angelfish in a reef?
I have a potter's angel. And
I would
risked
not.
it.
I would
risked
not
it,
do that.
And it's been okay.
I do not trust them.
Something killed my ruby red dragonet and target spot. Or no, it was a psychedelic mandarin. And I don't know. I think it might have been that angel just harassing him.
Have you seen it harass?
No, but they're both gone like that, and there's no reason that they're both good weight and everything.
That's kind of strange.
And that was the most recent addition, so I couldn't convict him in a court of law, but
But just saying, he had that look.
I've never practiced law either.
Any tips on dealing with remitted snails? Unfortunately, the only thing that I can suggest is physical removal. So it's a lot of just elbow grease of getting in there and and taking them out one at a time. They don't grow that quickly. Like they take, usually when they become like an explosive population problem, that's when it's like, oh no. But you can handle that pretty well, like long before that you get to that stage.
Yeah, it take a few hours to get the explosion out of there, and then every couple weeks go through.
If basically every single time you put your hands in the tank, if you can take 5 away, you won't have a problem. If you need to like do,
I'd like to reiterate that you need to make a new account.
make a
on
new
the
account.
website.
It's a new website, guys.
I used your words, Ben. Reiterate.
46 or 86.
86. What's the last one on this row?
88 was the final one on this row.
Okay, I'm gonna use the bathroom at 88. You need to plan these things out. Okay,
Can't break the seal, Dan. You can't break
I'm
the seal.
totally breaking the seal. We do up to 6 feeds a day. Maybe 2 of those are frozen, but it's always enriched. Any tips on octopus care? Never had one. I've heard peppermint shrimp kills remetid snails. I would not expect that.
Yeah, I would think they'd get down there. Tubes.
Number 87.
Or the snails would escape into their tubes
Yeah,
faster.
I don't even think too many things try to kill them. Like short of a
Humans
parrot.
are the only ones dumb enough to try.
Yeah.
And cut their hands up. And
Right, and get infected. Like you poke yourself with a remetid snail, instant infection. All right. Alrighty. That's probably all the different acans, or micromusa lords as they are now considered. Okay.
so while you're in the restroom, I'm going to start organizing the Tidal Gardens camp out. Once the new building's set up, I think you should have a camp out so everyone can camp
Just might.
on the grounds. Because there's plenty of room. If anyone's seen the drone footage, Ben, do you agree? There's plenty of room for camping.
Plenty of room, I agree with that.
Let's turn this into like the Reefing Woodstock. Coral stock. There's Coral Palooza, but there's no corals. There is a reef stock, so you gotta call it coral stock. Dan let a fly in here. Is anyone planning to go to MACNA? And it's in Vegas this year, right? I don't know if Dan's going or not. Seems like that would be his thing. What do you think about hydrogen peroxide dosing? What are you hydrogen peroxide dosing for?
Oh, what'd you do?
I didn't do anything.
What'd you do?
He just capped it. Oh, you used the outhouse, didn't you?
I mean, like literally just the entire outdoors.
Like I said, it's like a campground. You can just kind of walk out there and go.
89.
You can't call it reef stock. Tidal garden stock. Nah, garden stock. Tidal stock. What could we call it?
Survivor.
Survive.
It's like we'll have obstacle courses and we won't feed anybody.
Yeah.
It'll be great.
How important is pH? I don't particularly chase pH, but if the system is like in a basement where there's not a whole lot of fresh air, I think that's where it becomes more important, in my opinion. If it's within the house and you got some sort of air circulation, I think you're going to be okay.
Have you ever heard of people doing hydrogen peroxide dosing?
Well, that's why I asked, what are they dosing it for?
He said for algae control.
Oh,
Number 9.
I don't really. I'm not. I don't have a strong opinion either way. I know people have been somewhat successful. It's almost like ozone, right? Because you're
Kinda.
I mean, it's a similar Am I right? From a chemistry standpoint?
Not sure if the mechanism is completely the same with that, but I have seen somebody that did do that, and it seemed pretty good. But every time I've ever done it, it seems really harsh.
Yeah, because it's attacking tissue.
Yeah.
I recently used Reflux that it inhibits the cell from photosynthesis, I believe, and it's been widely used recently, or becoming more popular to be used on Bryopsis, but it will take out other algae. Bryopsis seems to be the one that reacts the quickest and dies off, because I believe it's more of a primitive. My understanding is it's more of a primitive algae, and it can be inhibited pretty quick and be done. So depending on what kind, so Bryopsis you could use that Reflux has been
I've got a little
effective.
bit of Bryopsis.
Yeah, I had a little bit, and I had some sort of weird algae bloom in my frag tank I could not figure out why, because it's connected to my other tank. So I did the Reflux to get rid of the Bryopsis, but it also started to put dents in some of the hair algae. It's all gone. It works without affecting any of my coral, and that's what most people's experience have been. Other people have said it affected some SPS and stuff like that. I did not see any effects on any. I have a wide range of SPS. So. Was that one of my offsprings?
Yes, both of these guys were both. So by the way, the lighting change got a little bit weird because there's I think a coral plus and a purple plus bulb on just this section. So whenever we go to this part of it, so Ben, do you know how to change the Kelvin rating?
Yeah, I bounced it to 55.
That looks better, whatever you just did.
Okay. I wasn't sure, so
Yeah, because it looks way too pinkish, purplish otherwise.
Also, somebody asked what eats Bryopsis. Fox faces May. That's your best bet, in my opinion. I also asked them while you were gone if who's going to MACNA. Are you going to Vegas? Have you not decided? I'm
up in the air. Are you gonna go?
Just from a monetary standpoint, it's.
I might have the same monetary problem too.
Yeah, I added 1,300 square feet, and you're adding 1,000 square feet. 100,000? I don't.
100,000 square feet. I wish.
When you walk
up,
up,
I don't wish.
That building never ends.
for 95.
But it's also it's not just building the building. Like the building part.
Oh,
was
that's
way more expensive than I thought it was. Okay.
Oh wow, you're already more expensive. That's not the expensive stuff.
Way more expensive.
Yeah.
But when you want to fill it with custom aquariums,
well, yeah,
that gets really expensive
and
too.
if you're looking at top line manufacturers,
well, okay. So I know some garbage tier manufacturers, or at least know of them by name, anyways, and they weren't really ever considered. Then the guys that did all my tanks in here are okay for an okay price and everything like that, but they're no longer in business.
yeah.
So that leaves me with some of the more upper scale tank manufacturers.
If you're going with somebody who's okay, you want to kind of already have an experience and trust them.
Right.
But when you don't know anyone who's mid-range
and because of the scale of my project, it's even the ones that are going to be mid-tier okay, those are big old numbers.
That's a lot of tanks, yeah.
Yeah, so you're never gonna get away with cheap. Whatever you end up purchasing will never be cheap. It's just whether or not you're gonna be happy with it.
Yes.
Because it's you could have bought a Tesla. These are big old numbers. So anyway, that's what I get to look at.
Oh, I just had to buy a new car too.
Did you really?
Yes, my 55,000 miles, 6 years, 2 months old. My extended warranty was 6 months, and lower engine block oil issue. That didn't indicate it or anything. It was either dump a ton of money to replace half the engine, while the other half of the engine may have been messed up anyways from lack of oil. So I got some trade-in value, and now I went to this from a Subaru WRX, like my 20s, early 30s, to a Forester. It's kind of like a dad car now. But I like it. I just didn't want to do it at this point in time.
That's like the worst. It's like when you have to do it when it's like the timing is all wrong.
Yep. Well, I just finished my car payments, and we just finished Amber's car payments. I was like, yes,
we're free.
Yes.
Then
I
it's
couldn't
like the
believe
mafia.
it.
It's like the car mafia.
Yeah. Somebody staged it. They know it. They were on me. Yeah, cars stopped working. No fun, man.
You know what? If my car stopped working, I honestly would be like, how much can I get by with just like
Uber,
a bike? And here's the thing, I haven't ridden a bike in a decade. Okay, and
you got to live stream the next time the first time that you ride your bike again. It needs to be live streamed.
Yeah, I don't want to buy another car. I really don't want to buy another car. And if I did buy another car, I would want to buy a Tesla specifically so that I wouldn't have to drive it.
Yeah, let's wait until the full autopilot's out before we buy a Tesla.
The full level 5 automation where I can just be like, have this thing just chauffeur me around.
That's the thing. I wanted my other car to last another 5 or 6 years. And then, Teslas might be at
maybe you can get that Model 3.
Yeah, so now I have a car
grand.
and I want the Forester for 10 more years, and then my daughter will be driving. It could be her first car. How crazy is that?
A Tesla or a Forester?
No, my Forester. I'm getting the Tesla. At the same time, a teenage girl, would you rather have them autopilot or driving themselves? Or teenager, teenage boy too, same thing.
Yeah, teenage boys are, they're all pretty bad. Like one of our mutual friends has a couple of like stepdaughters that like to wreck new cars. And they keep buying new ones.
Dad, the insurance pays for it.
It's like, who cares?
What's the deal?
It's like,
you
it's just a car.
Rotate through them.
Get another one.
Buy a trike like
Buy
Matt.
a trike like Matt. He became like so into trikes. Like he knows so much about them.
Gio Nation?
Yeah. Like that's like his thing. He wants to trike around the world.
Trike around?
He is.
I want to be the first person to trike around the world.
Well, it's really to bike around the world, but then after like
he should make that classification clear, because I don't know how many people have actually triked around the world. We're talking about a motorized one, right? Like a motorcycle, but 3. Oh,
pedals.
Really?
Pedals.
2 wheels in the back or front?
2 wheels in the
back.
Front, I think. Wait, guys, does Matt's trike have wheels in the? I think it's 2 in the front, 1 in the back, and. Chat. I can't do the search myself, but
quick, do arm wrestle over it. Figure out who's right. That's how we settle our differences.
Now that's gonna bug me because I think that like he has 2 wheels in the front because there's all his devices are in front of him too. Regardless, he bikes.
This is 0.
Yeah, I don't know what's up with that.
Well, they really didn't like
because they're here.
Oh, okay.
Meh. At the back.
The wheels at the back.
Well, I know there are wheels in the back. How many are there?
Oh. Well, we were asking specifically where the 2 are.
The 2 are in the back?
I mean, that would make sense. I've seen the recumbent bikes. That's like a trike.
All right.
Is it where he can kind of like lay back almost? Is the pedals out like hip high almost when you're?
Yeah, and so check out his schedule. He wakes up. He will then bike. I guess it's not biking; it's triking, right? It has to be.
Well, yeah, we gotta be right.
It's not gonna be. It's not a bicycle. So anyway, so he would bike for 26 miles. No. I think it's like between 20 something to like 50 something miles a day, and then shoot video the whole time, different spots, and by the time that he gets to his next location, some sort of Airbnb.
Is he currently on that, or?
I think he's actually in America right now.
Okay.
But then he would edit video that night and get something published, which is like absurd to me because it takes me like 5 hours to edit anything, any dumb little thing.
Yeah, he made like 14 videos while he was here, and you got one out 2 weeks later.
Yeah, I mean,
What's wrong with you?
his and he's using like a laptop to do all that, which again is incredible. Because he has a new MacBook Pro with like the slider thing, which is terrible. So he has like not even a very good laptop to do this on. It's very impressive.
So your new multimedia studio that you plan on setting up, are you going to have Sagio occasionally shows a picture of his desktop with the
yes.
like the one, I don't know, 1, 2, 3,
6.
4, 5, 6 monitors? Are you going to have that?
If I lived Sagi's life, I would consider it, because the reason why he has all those monitors is because he actually does a lot of like coding and stuff.
Yeah.
So
So
it
he
makes
justifies
sense.
them, yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense for coding. So we're talking about one of our mutual friends who he has a tech channel. It's called Tech Gear Talk on YouTube. I'm gonna have him on one of these live shows. He's a cool dude, but his home system, his computer, has 6 monitors, and 2 of which are vertical. And
the middle 2 are vertical.
yeah, the middle 2 are vertical, because when you're writing code, it's really helpful.
Line by line, right?
Yeah, to see like all the levels. Just all that text. Yeah.
Let's go jack first.
I'm not gonna do any jack. I just want some Coke, please. I would pay to see you ride a bike with that tight suit. It's not tight. It's fitted. It's a fitted suit.
The tux, the blue tux.
Or any of my suits, actually.
Yeah, that's true. You're well tailored.
So I was actually there today, and I got a shirt made of wool, like a dress shirt, kind of like this, but it's made of wool. And I guess like outdoorsy guys are, they've been wearing wool type stuff for like a long time, because it's like moisture wicking, it's antimicrobial, so it doesn't stink. You almost never have to wash it. Blah blah blah. So and it's also like very very good at regulating heat, both hot and cold.
Really?
Yeah, and so there's like this guy on YouTube that started a company. He started a company to make men's dress shirts out of wool, and as like a proof of concept, he wore the same shirt every day for 100 days, and like it's not dirty and it doesn't smell, which is like kind of crazy.
Does it need to be ironed once? I guess you have to wash it.
It never has to be ironed because it's completely wrinkle free. So it was kind of impressive. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna have Cindy like whip me up one of these things. And
Do you have it yet?
I went and saw it today because she adds like some of these little extra things that after it comes back from wherever it gets manufactured. So anyway, I will have it. Like I tried it on today, and it's like super comfortable, but it's heavier than cotton.
Okay.
But I guess it breathes better, so it'll feel cooler even though it's a heavier fabric.
So
Kinda cool.
The president of my company, his office was right next to my office, so we share a thermostat, and he spends over half the year in Naples, Florida.
Oh, so he cranks it super hot?
Yeah, so when he comes back up, and his office is bigger than mine, and I get hit with the sun in the afternoon, more so than his office. And I don't know, he sets it like 75, and my office has got to get close to 80 by that time. And I'm starting to sweat. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'll sneak in there when he's not around.
Dial that down.
Yeah, because the thermostat's actually in his office. But if I'm wearing that wool, he won't be here in the winter though, so that's when I'd wear it.
Okay, Matt's trike has 2 wheels in the front.
Oh, we have disagreements both online and offline.
It's like if you're gonna get a Tesla, get the Roadster. Here's the problem: like a lot of the smaller like cars, they aren't made for like 6 foot tall people anymore or something. Like these tiny little cars.
Yeah, I'd have to sit in one.
Like we're getting old, you know. We can't like squeeze
That's
into
the
stuff
Forester. Like so, I had the WRX, which is like a rally, you know, turbocharged car, and I sat nice and like in a it was like a cockpit.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm in my Forester with the leather seats, and I'm like back away from the wheel. I'm leaning back a little bit. I got all this room. I'm like, I just turned into my dad. Just like with the car purchase. I went from, I'm past my mid-20s. I went from my mid-20s to late 30s like that, car-wise.
114. It's not that bad. I mean, it was recently glued, so I mean that could be part of it. These things actually get gigantic. These Blastomusa Merletti.
Mm-hmm. So Vincent Smith, WRX STI. I had just the standard WRX. I had a 2002 and then got a new one in 2012. So I've been driving one for 16 years. And then the other one was great. I sold it to get the 2012. It had about 100,000 miles. And then this one, oil delivery problem broke my heart.
I'm still driving a 2008
Saturn.
Honda
Yours
Accord.
is a Honda?
Honda Accord Coupe.
06 Acura.
His is a kind of Honda Accord. I thought it was a Saturn.
Nope.
The red one.
Red one.
Hmm.
Accord
Oh,
Coupe.
right. It's nice though. You barely drive it, so it's in good shape.
Mm-hmm. Except I drove it to Chicago or something. So Kenzie is asking, got 12 bulbs over 220. Should I do SB Reef Light? Don't know what that is. Or Reef Bright to supplement. That's a ton of light. I mean,
Is it just like a light strip? Like a blue light strip? Is that what we're asking?
I mean, Reef Brights are pretty good if you just want like a little bit of additional pop.
Yeah.
Yeah, I go with the Reef Bright. That's a safe bet.
We're being supplemented up here.
So today's been like the weirdest day for weather-wise. It's bright and sunny, and it has been bright and sunny.
I'm gonna go use the great outdoors.
Okay. No worries.
Which side of the building?
I don't care. Wherever you don't fall into the mud. Good luck. Good lucko.
I was worried more about like exposure.
Oh. So what was I talking about? Oh, the sun. So it's like direct sunlight out here, but at different times of the day, it's been black and torrential downpour. So I have no idea like what it's going to be doing for us. Yeah, no oil needed for a Tesla electronic motor. Damn straight.
118.
No, I really love the idea of autopilot. That's like of all of the things that like people want to talk to me about Tesla about, that's the number one thing. I don't even care that it's electric. I mean, it's a nice perk, and I do like it. But if somebody made like my car that had the self-driving features of a Tesla, I would buy that.
119.
Purely hypothetical question, Mark Andrews. High temperatures is expected to be 95 on Tuesday. Is it reasonable to try shipping corals to me, or would you expect them to fry during shipping? 95 is pretty hot. So if it's hot here, we can ship out because we can provide a cold pack. But that cold pack is going to be pretty much used up by the time that it arrives at your place. So really, if it's too hot at your place, I probably wouldn't risk it, especially since corals tend to be a little bit more sensitive to heat than they do to cold. So if you're going to be missing the temperature mark, you really don't want to be missing on the high end. It'll be better in the future, I promise. It's hard to like move around here. It's such a small space.
Anybody like the new Dave Matthews Band album? I do.
I was listening to the Dave Matthews Band when I was in like college.
So was I. In fact,
So he's like almost dead now, isn't he?
he's 50 something. The new album comes, if you like pre-ordered it, with a companion CD of some live performances, and one of the live performances is from, I don't know if it was September or November of 1996, Cleveland, Ohio, Gund Arena at that time, which was my first Dave Matthews Band concert, 96. Little trivia there, little Renton 777 history and Dave Matthews Band trivia. So
We're old.
it's definitely not old DMB stuff. It's they've continued to change, but I still like it. So we are old.
I'm trying to think what was the last live music thing I saw.
Dave Matthews Band. I went earlier in the month.
You went twice?
No,
Oh,
Blossom.
okay.
My sister and I go every year. She gets the tickets as a birthday present for me.
Nice, nice. Last year, I think, maybe it was last year, maybe it was the year before, probably last year, I went to see Smashing Pumpkins.
Oh, was it the original group?
There was no Darcy, because she's not talking to anybody. And there's no, what's his face? The guy that looks like me.
Oh, the bass player or the guitar? Was he a guitar player?
Rhythm guitar, yeah.
The guy
He looks
that
just like me.
Oh, now I have to look this up.
James Eha. Look up James Eha. It's like separated at birth.
Well, yeah, he's not touring anymore because he's growing coral and doing live shows.
125.
The guy looks like... His name's James.
Eha. IHA.
I'm glad you told me that because I was going a totally different route.
Halfway there, halfway done.
He said, I liked everything up to American Baby. Grugrux was weird turning point.
Honestly, yeah. There's another one after Grugrux. You guys, I would say it's similar vibe to Grugrux, Big Whiskey and the Grugrux King. It's called
26.
Away from This World. I would say their most recent album is a diversion from Grugrux and Away from This World. So different than those. You need to dye your hair blonde.
I did in college. I did in college. So, yeah. It's kind of weird with certain bands, especially as they get like this, this
127.
old, is that, they're tired of playing like their hits from like when they were really popular. Like, because they've played it like 5,000 times.
I mean, as much as Dave Matthews Band
like-
tours, how many
It's like,
times has he
play
played?
Crash Into Me?
Yeah, I was gonna say how much he played Crash, and I was like, does he
How?
enjoy that? Or,
No, he can't.
Or does he just go on? Do they just go on like autopilot for that song? It's almost like a rest, and then they get back to newer stuff or different stuff. Because even Crash, some of their songs, they'll change little pieces or interludes in the middle of it, at least musically. But Crash has always just been Crash.
128.
So maybe
Like-
that's like a rest song. Like, yeah, I can fall asleep and play this,
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll get back into something.
So when I saw Smashing Pumpkins, the entire vibe was different. Like he went full on extra mellow. So like all of the alternative rock stuff from like the 90s has been reimagined.
There's no rage. It's all
Into,
tranquility and peacefulness.
yeah,
Yeah, you have kids. It's like
kind of like
reflecting on
Kenny
that.
G-ish, like adult performance for grown-ups. And that's like, wow. My childhood has been over for a very long time.
See Dynamite little DMV Tesla fitted custom shirts, trike, show some red meat in the picture to raise the low T.
You need to get custom shirts. Y'all look ridiculous.
Hey, the finer things in life, man, you start to appreciate them more and more as your testosterone goes. I don't think I have low T. I don't know.
How old are you?
38.
So your testosterone is probably down a good 20%.
1/3.
I'm all right with that. I've got my kids. I'm
It's
good.
like, at some point, it's like, all that extra tea is just going to get you cancer. Well, is that true? It's probably not true. Yeah, I think it might be the opposite. I think, I would consider testosterone, what do you call it?
Look at the gray. Look at the grays here. Look at the grays.
Replacement therapy. If, A, if I cared, but B, it's like the cost of it. It's like,
My tea was destroyed by a mortgage, marriage, and having children.
Can favias be close to each other? Not really. They will fight, and one will win. Or possibly both will lose.
See, the thing is, there's so many different favias. If they're like the exact same species, just different color variations, you might be okay. But if they're not, one will torch the other. Because they get actually pretty long sweepers.
Yeah. Like, if this was like a home aquarium, I would not be keeping these things even this close.
Agreed.
Not ideal.
Agreed.
And the thing is, like, I've seen in his tank certain corals that would like fight like crazy to the death here. They're growing right next to each other. Just after all that time, it just kind of happens.
The SPS grow in such harmony that it becomes a problem because they encroach on each other, and then they die of suffocation from lack of circulation because they get so dense, and these colonies grow so close to each other. And I lost a large colony of Hawkings, Ora Hawkings, which people
The
call
Echinata?
Yeah, which isn't technically, it's a Taraki.
We saw a thing in the
So I saved some frags from it, but the main colony went up in smoke and it died right from the middle where it probably wasn't getting enough flow. So
That could easily happen. But the thing I was thinking about was like 2 chalices were touching.
yeah, they were growing over. They were growing up. They were like growing upwards against each other, trying to.
Yeah, that'll
Instead
never
of
happen
stinging,
here.
instead of stinging each other, they're just trying to go up and over each other, and
As soon as like 2 of my chalices touch one another,
half one of them dead.
instantly die. Like they both just turn white and go the other way. So,
That's a cool fabia.
did I get that from you?
No,
No.
I may be looking at that.
You should, if they're nice.
You better beat me to it, folks. Better beat me to it. Pressure sail, pressure sail.
Yeah, as far as like favias go, that's one of my faves. Daniel Herod, I'm from Australia. Hello. So, we don't get a ton of stuff from importing, but a lot of other people do. And right now, the difficulty is that there's 2 major geographies that are shut down as far as like exporting goes. So Fiji and Indonesia are both shut down right now. So the vast majority of the coral is coming from Australia. And so the Australian coral, I guess like exporters from Australia, they're like swamped with business. So there's like huge delays on their stuff. Little bit underexposed there, Ben. And on top of that, I think they're able to just to hike up prices like crazy. So it's a weird climate right now. And I guess like there's Vietnam, you can order from Vietnam, but there's only so many corals that are really from there. Are you guys going to go to Macna? I've been planning on it, but at the same time I haven't been planning on it in any meaningful way. Like I haven't bought a ticket, I haven't bought plane tickets, I haven't booked a room or anything.
It's in Vegas, and it would be one to go to just from getting the accommodation prices and all that stuff. I mean, it would be a relatively inexpensive until you start gambling. But it would be actually a nice. I think it would be a fun one, but I'm trying to save money, more money.
I went to a different conference called NAB for broadcasting and cameras and things like that with Sagi a few months ago, and that was also in Las Vegas at the same,
Area.
same resort, same everything. I don't know, like Vegas leaves a weird taste in my mouth because it's like they get you with like the cheap room. It's like $120 something a night, but then on top of that, it's like they really hit you up on everything after that. So like, oh, you want water? That's $4. There's like no
It's like
drinking
being at a
fountains.
sporting event where it's $8 for a bottle of water.
Yeah, the whole thing is like that. It's like,
Like,
oh,
do you just want to take my wallet? I mean,
there was like this pseudo Starbucks on at the downstairs of the hotel, and they serve like microwave breakfast food. Yeah, $32 per person.
really? So that kind of stuff is. I haven't been there, but
Okay, so this was a Mystic Sunset, right? This is 137, Ben.
37.
All right. Yeah, so that stuff was like super expensive. Oh, but I think it's because it's like the convention center hotel.
yeah, the captive audience type of thing.
Yeah. And on top of that, like the rooms, you could tell that so the resort, not the resort, like the hotel next to the convention center is called the Westgate. And you can kind of tell that it's like an older hotel. And old Vegas is not like the Cosmopolitan or the Aria. It's a little rough. So like our shower, like all the plumbing didn't like connect to the wall. It was like
Comes out a
it
little
was coming out like 3 inches.
I can see space in there. I can
like-
see into the wall.
It's like, guys, you're fit and finish.
They're like, just go down to the casino, get some free drinks. Or do they not do? Is that a misperception? Of
No, it is.
$25 drink
I
at
mean,
a restaurant, maybe.
it's the free drink thing is kind of messed up because I think it's in some of like the bigger casinos they'll do that. So people just like just sit and hammer the penny slots.
Yeah.
But it's the service is like super slow, and you
The
feel
high roller tables, they're all over you, but at the
and like I would feel guilty anyway, so I'd end up tipping like $20. So it's like I should have just bought whatever.
140.
Vincent Smith, loads of wine, world's best buffets, and a break from the swampy Midwest we're both stuck in. Yeah, I mean the dry heat is nicer than what it is right going on
I'm trying
outside.
to grow some new grass in my yard, so we need this swampy weather for a little longer. Some rain, some sun, some rain, some sun. Give it another 4 weeks, and I'm good.
I'm so done with that. I'm so done because I need to be pouring concrete soon.
Where are you born?
We're doing like a new driveway and everything like this back here for the new building.
This way.
Yeah, it's a lot. The food there typically is good though, Vincent. I agree. And if you want to do like fine dining, like Vegas is like really good for that. But it's like the nickel and dimey stuff that bugs me, because they'll have like a hot dog or something like that on the convention floor. $6.
Yeah.
Come on now, it's a hot dog. What are you guys doing?
142.
All in one or a sump? That's an easy one for me. What do you think?
Sump.
Sump.
Much more flexibility to put what you want. As big as a sump as you can do as well.
Yeah. And the other thing is like, if you did say, you know what, I messed up with this first sump, I would have done X, Y, and Z different. Guess what?
New sump.
New sump.
Which I did. Well,
Fixed.
actually, when I added the frag tank, which is like 80 gallons, I ended up having a new sump made to add volume. I still had room under my stand for the new sump.
Did so the guy that built your sump has a store in this area, 20 minutes away, called Triton Marine, and is it Triton Marine Aquaculture? Not just Triton is something else. It's like they're the lab testy people.
Yes, yeah. Triton Marine Aquaculture is the store in the area.
And they're moving to a new location.
Yep, just
Have you seen it?
Yeah, actually, I was over there last weekend.
Is it nice?
Yeah.
I've seen the pictures. It look good.
Yeah, they're building the infrastructure inside of it, but it's a much larger space, both the showroom, I guess you would say, and then
The area
behind
behind.
the scenes.
That's cool. Yeah, because the one nice thing that what those guys do over there is they quarantine their fish for like a really long time, which is like super important. Any news from Indonesia? Timeline? There is no news and there is no timeline. So yeah, basically until stuff changes, I wouldn't expect anything to change, if that makes sense. Like it happens when it happens. They don't seem to be in any hurry.
145.
So you're still only at 3 dropped frames?
Yeah.
Is that for the whole duration so far?
Yeah. Still there. Okay, so real quick. How many people are actually on right now? Show me, show me, show me. 117. Okay.
What do we do? What do we have to do to captivate your attention for longer?
You know what it is? It's almost like summertime. Like summertime. So a lot of people don't realize this, but the reef aquarium hobby is a completely different thing going from winter to summer. It's you can see it like if you have a Google Analytics on your website or something, your web traffic gets cut in half in the summertime months.
Is that why you only ask me for live sales during the summer?
No, actually last time you got sick, remember?
Yes, I did. That sucked.
Remember that?
I was wiped out, man. It was,
Yeah, you were supposed to come, what, 2 months ago?
Yep, I would have fallen. Flu without the vomiting, but it wiped me out,
147.
like, from an energy standpoint. Missed a couple days a week, or work, but even then. Hey,
Got your name on it.
yeah, look at that.
Oh, I was like, what are we talking about?
We got to stop and admire this coral
Yellow tip wrap,
and reflect upon its origin.
which we don't know.
My tank. It didn't exist before.
Where did it come from before?
My tank. It never existed. I made it. That's why my name's on it.
So random dude is asking, is it true that you have to run higher alkalinity if you have higher nutrients? I've never heard that connection.
I don't believe you have to do it. I believe if you have higher alkalinity, that you may want higher nutrients because the core it's calcifying quicker, creating skeleton. Therefore, it needs more nutrients to create the tissue. That's the thought. I think it's actually kind of in reverse, and that's just observational thought. But if you have high alkalinity and low nutrients, that's you're on a razor's edge on getting white tips on your alk burn on your corals.
And so how are you counting low or high nutrient?
Like you don't want nutrients below 1 or unmeasurable nutrients if you have high alk.
What is nutrients? Like there's no test kit for
Nitrates.
specifically nitrates.
Nitrates, most likely phosphates, but nitrates between 5 and 10, maybe 15 if you have real high alk.
Okay.
Would
149.
In general, speaking
Okay.
in general terms, so I don't get misquoted as fact. Never quote me as fact. If you're ever in an argument, don't quote me.
Tips for fragging microzoas, the kind with no visible stalk. They're so finicky that scraping them off and gluing them kills them. Also, can I grow them taller?
Cut whatever.
I can just
they're
cut the
on.
rock.
Yeah.
Yeah, cut the rock directly.
150.
I would love to see that. I'd love to see an argument on Reef to Reef and somebody say, I was watching the Tidal Gardens live stream and Nathan said, and then they quote me. And then like everyone just flames it and just like he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's terrible.
It's the internet. That's what you can expect.
Yes. Most likely it'd be my friends flaming it too.
I keep on saying that it goes back to that Jack Sparrow quote from the first Pirates of the Caribbean.
But you do know of me.
Exactly. But you have heard of me.
Yes, you have heard of me. That's one of the that's one of the greatest lines.
Uh-huh.
But you have heard of me.
Because I get like some like random,
worst
barely
pirate.
can type hater, just like commenting randomly on like some
But
video.
you know who I am.
It's like, you came here. Like, I don't know who the hell you are.
You're in my universe here. This is my reality.
I can keep SPS corals healthy. Blah, blah, blah. A buddy of mine has beyond 50 nitrate and skyrocketing phosphate, and his SPS are okay. Depends. I mean,
Me personally, if once I keep my nitrates hopefully between 5 and 15. My problem mark is 50, and I rarely
50's
let them
really
get there.
high.
It is really high, but that's when I've seen like the orange Montipora that just grows on insane. It starts to die in my tank at that
Okay,
level.
that's bad.
And that was a few years ago, but that's when I know. That's why I keep it 15 to 5.
yeah, that's really, really bad.
Yeah.
Did I tell you like what our highest phosphate reading was here? 1. 1 part per million.
1.
It's like, yeah, and guess what? We had some algae. We had some algae later.
Yeah, I can see the algae. Yeah, that's the problem. Once you get the higher nitrates, it's also the algae issue.
Yeah.
Whether or not it's getting consumed as much as it's growing.
Yeah, I think also like, the thing with summertime here is like all this pollen makes it into our tank and just increases it all even more.
You know that Hawking's colony dying again. It was late spring, early summer. It seems like it just something goes around at that time of year. I think we were talking about it, and one time I said, could it be pollen? And it was like, maybe.
Just whatever
Especially when you
gets
see
into
how
your
much
house.
you cover in your cars and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Sanjay, he always, I just follow him. I don't really know him, but I've seen him on Facebook, and he seems to always have colony problems
In
this
spring.
time of year. Yep.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. I mean,
So it makes me feel better. Somebody else's corals are dying. It's in a relatively similar climate. Pennsylvania, Ohio.
yeah.
First does look great so far this season.
Well, thanks
Give
for
and
trying
take.
to
Not.
destroy my theory. How are your homeworkers doing?
Homewreckers. Let's see. Okay. Vincent, I think one thing that hurts online coral sales is the cost of shipment. Sometimes to make it worth, you need to buy a lot of coral at once to curb that cost, and the majority of people clinch.
Exactly. Buy lots of corals. That's your answer,
Yeah.
right? Buy lots at a time.
It is straight up, shipping corals is expensive. Like, it's really expensive.
I've thought that too, but then when you think about it, because I've shipped corals to other people, I'm like, man, I dropped this off at 8:30 at night at the Cleveland airport,
And it shows up in Arizona,
Arizona, San Diego, by 10:30 their time, which is
like for like $50.
yes, it's pretty insane.
It's like you couldn't ship yourself there for $50. Well,
maybe in a styrofoam. Yeah,
because if you can fit yourself in an 8x8 styrofoam box,
yeah.
that's like a pound.
But really, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And when you talk to somebody outside the hobby, and you're like, yeah, I ship corals. You can ship corals? Well, yeah.
You can ship a lot of things.
It gets over. How much does that cost? So it's like, I don't know, $50 to send it to California. But yes, if you're just trying to buy a $25 coral, that becomes
Right.
Do I want to do that?
But strangely, people do. Like, I've got plenty of people that order one coral and pay for shipping.
Hey.
It's like, it's not. That's probably wouldn't be something I would be in a huge hurt. Well,
if you're in the middle of Wyoming, how many reef stores are there, right?
yeah. Or
Actually, there's a lot of places where there's no reef stores.
or it's like who am I to say that like they just have money, they just don't care.
Yeah.
It's like this is like buying a pencil. Like I don't think about the price of a pencil.
$75 pencil.
I asked on Reef to Reef and people told me that I could keep higher nitrate as long as I keep higher alk. Well,
Again, I would say if you're going to keep higher alk, you'll want to at least register nitrate. and keep it 5, a minimum of 5, which is
I'll go
very general.
I'll go to a completely different direction. Their experiences might be completely different than yours.
That too.
Like their system might be a completely different performer as far as any of that stuff goes.
The one thing I would say is keeping higher I mean, natural seawater elk is like 7.5, right? 7.5.
It's lower than what we typically do.
Yeah, so unless your main objective is to grow corals as fast as you can, because that's what the thought is with higher elk will cause faster coral growth, why would you want, why are you going to keep higher elk? And once you have a full tank like mine, you don't want faster growth. You don't want explosive growth unless you're ready to prune it, keep on it, because it does become more of a chore. So I keep mine at 8.5 to 9, which is obviously higher than natural seawater, but I don't even try and maximize growth. It grows plenty fast for me.
I always considered alkalinity kind of also just like the buffering aspect of it, where it gets a little bit more resistant to change and whatnot. That's
why I keep my elk between 8.5 and 9, so that if it does drop without me noticing, it's not getting below natural sea level for a day or two. And if something goes wrong and it doses extra elk, it doesn't go above 12 within a day.
Did I ever tell you what my absolute lowest elk was here?
I remember, in fact, if you're going to watch a replay of an elk or of a live sale, it's when we discussed elk for the first time on that when I was here, because you looked over, I think you said it was 4, and I just...
It's 2 point something.
And that's when I...
Can you get some Coke when you have a sec?
I was shocked, and that's when I...
And just
like, Dan, we
dismayed.
have very different systems.
Yes, I do remember that.
Like,
I definitely remember that.
I'm like, hey kids, watch this. Watch when Mr. Than says this. Watch my facial reaction.
No, but it got worse. It was down to 2 point something. 2.3, I think.
And
it's ridiculous.
Well, did you see any?
Yeah, we saw some things.
I'll tell you what. If you had a home wrecker, it would lose the pink. I promise.
We were losing birds' nests after a while.
My home wrecker will lose the pink if it's below 8, 7.5. If there's a drastic drop, I should say. It might not be the level, but it's just the drop that bothers it.
I'm really looking forward to having more home-type systems rather than kind of the Wild West that it is out in a greenhouse. A lot more under control. I say that, and what's going to happen is I set up all those tanks over there, and still, it's still off the charts weird. It's like, maybe I just suck at this hobby.
Yeah.
It's like I just can't. Yeah, I just assumed that it was the
You're
greenhouse.
You're going to start a live sale, and you're going to be drunk already. Be like, I just came to the conclusion I suck.
It's like, you know, I thought that it was because I was doing a greenhouse. No, the problem was me.
Yeah.
The whole time. It was just me. Turns out I don't know what I'm doing, guys.
Who knew?
It's like, I've never had good water chemistry. Ever.
Apparently, corals still want good water chemistry, even in a building, and not a greenhouse.
It's like, oh, it's because of the pollen. It's not because of the pollen. It's because I'm terrible. Yeah, Ben's like, no, we're fine. We're fine.
Ben's like, Dan, just stay away from the aquariums.
164.
Right.
Yeah, just keep on giving out random advice.
Yeah. Don't you have to get fitted for a shirt, Dan? Why don't you run along and I'll do the testing.
Here, go put on a bow tie. Go have some fun. Have some cocktails. We got this over here.
Did you get a 3-piece suit you wanted to try? Go ahead. Go do that.
Yeah. Did you test drive that thing yet?
Have you heard of the new Dave Matthews Band album? You know, I get shit for my Dave Matthews Band fandom at any reef store I go to. Oh, I'm sorry. Kid friendly.
There's kids. You have kids. Do you swear in front of your kids?
Occasionally.
Okay. Well.
Am I allowed to use curse words for a story?
165.
Or would you prefer me not to?
Try it without. Does it not work?
It's not as effective. I like Fireworks Samacora.
That's nice,
that.
isn't it? Mm-hmm. So someone's gonna totally buy this.
All the last ones sold last time.
Yeah, like this thing here. Where did we get this? Yeah, that's because I guarantee you wherever we got it from, it doesn't look like this. we didn't pick because I don't remember like ever shopping for something like that. Yeah, that looks just amazing.
I like the high contrast corals that have a darker, but still colorful, the purple base, and then it's got the bright orange.
166.
Oh,
I'm getting a 45-gallon rimless aquarium by using a sump, but I'm too scared to drill it because it might crack.
Do you know any stores in the area that will drill
Yeah,
it?
there's like professional equipment to do that stuff.
Diamond, yeah.
Well, but not only that, but there's like the giant bracing things and
holds everything perfectly still.
yeah, and the drill thing itself has like a big metal turning thing to lower it super slowly and stuff. Yeah.
You know, we did CC. It was many years ago. They did a demonstration of.
It was like a drill, right?
They
just like a hand drill.
You hand drill.
Yeah.
Nothing bracing it. Just kind of like had a kid hold it, and they're like, and they did it successfully. So.
167.
It's not rocket science, but at the same time, there's better ways to do it now.
Yes.
Do it that way.
Yes, if you have a local fish store that does that, that would be my first stop. Oh no, they won't do it.
Oh yeah, I saw the new LFSs. Yeah, like go to a glass shop. They might be able to help you out. Yeah. But yeah, it takes specialized equipment.
If not, just watch some YouTube videos on how to do it. You want to water. You want to keep it cool.
But they use almost like this clay-looking thing.
Plumber's putty.
Plumber's putty.
Put it all the way around and you fill that with water. You
Oh, okay.
Constantly adding more water, but the plumber's putty keeps the water
contained within that area.
The amount of random skills I've picked up because of this hobby is astounding.
Yeah, plumbing,
I agree.
Yeah, PVC plumbing is nothing I ever thought I would
Right.
be involved in.
So like me and like the plumber that's doing work at the new building here is a flat out artiste. Okay.
169.
Are you gonna have him plumb the new system?
He might be getting a little bit of that work because he's so good, but like we're talking about like system design and stuff, and he is a total plumbing geek and he loves it so much. And so we're just sitting here just like bouncing ideas back and forth. When it comes to electrical, I know nothing. Like
If it can kill me, I don't get involved.
I know nothing about it. It's like it's the same thing as a battery.
If it might leak on cement floors, I'll do it. But if it's gonna kill me, nah. I've said if I do get another tank at some point, I think I'll have somebody with a lot more experience plumb it and do that setup, just because it will most likely be my last tank, or at least I won't be looking to get a bigger tank for many years, and I just don't want to do that anymore.
But at least, like we know what we're looking at.
Yeah, I'll know what I'm looking at, but I want the confidence that somebody has the touch, the patience, which
Right.
sometimes I don't have the patience.
171.
So what else did I learn? I learned photography, I learned videography, we learned web development at a pretty high level.
Well, this isn't just the hobby for you.
Right.
But yes, you're right.
Yeah. Are you in the new facility yet? No. I'll be lucky.
Can't you tell?
I will be lucky if it'll be 2019.
Soon we're just going to change the green screen to like some footage at the new building.
Just fake new footage.
Just fake.
Hey guys, we're in the new building.
It's like it's like completely still. It's like it's just a photo.
Or a loop.
Yeah, a loop. Yeah, somebody walks behind you like at the same time.
Actually,
Every 15 minutes.
sometime later this week, I will try to get a video done of whatever updates. So, like, since I see the building every single day, all the little things kind of become normalized. So I don't really notice any differences since the last time. But going back and actually taking a look at what we showed last time, it's like, oh, there was a lot of development. It doesn't feel like it right now, but there was development. And to get people caught up on that, that would be kind of cool.
Same reason you should journal, take pictures of your tank. Mm-hmm. Same with your...
And I have shot a ton of video, but here's my thing though. I don't take any video, or I don't publish any video anymore of like people working. Because there's probably like a dozen OSHA violations that people just do on jobs. It's like, you know what? That doesn't need to be on the internet forever.
A ladder stacked on a chair, the guy on the top with one foot,
Swinging
with
on
a
electrical.
drill. Yeah, holding an electrical cord.
With a hose. Like, we don't need to, no one needs to see that.
Yeah, we don't want that on the YouTube channel.
I just need this job done, guys. You just make it happen.
Just make it, fans in there, just make it happen!
It's like, I don't know what it is you're doing. I know you need to be done by 5.
I don't care if that guy's bleeding out. Get it done!
It's like, you have plenty of blood.
Yeah. The human body holds a lot more blood than most people realize.
Best LED light for a decent price.
Used AI Soul Blues.
They're getting kind of long in the tooth.
And not as available.
Yeah, that's hard to get.
Or a new AI Soul Blues if you can find them.
There's a really good chance that I'll be going with Ecotech Radions.
Hey,
But those are not cheap.
I forget who I was talking with, and they asked me which light I'd go with, and I said an Orphic Atlantic, because I really like that over my frag tank. But they said they were thinking about Ecotech Radions. I was like, there's no harm in doing those. Those are proven as well, right?
Well, actually, so okay, this is just from other people talking, but go look at CJ's Reef and go look at Rico's Aquariums. They have there's like some Chinese company that they used to have before they both switched to Radions that they were both very happy with. I think it was called
The Reef Breeders one?
It wasn't a Reef Breeders. It was like it was literally a company I've never heard of before these guys started talking about it. Ocean Revive. Have you heard of Ocean Revive?
No.
See, I haven't either. But they really, really enjoyed it, or enjoyed like the growth that those lights produced. AI Hydra 26. I'm kind of racist against AI.
Unless it's a Soul Blue. Right? Or do you not like...
Soul Blues are good.
Yeah, that's arguably their best light.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good light. I mean, it's just not my fave. Yeah, everybody's like Ocean Revive. Yep, that's it.
Yep.
178.
At some point, I think that like the different inexpensive lighting manufacturers are kind of like really closing that gap between like the super high-end stuff and where they're currently situated for like a quarter of the price.
Yeah, there might be.
Is
You
there
might be right.
is there okay, so at the last MACNA that I went to, I saw that BRS was trying to sell like some Chaeto reactor.
Those will become popular with the red lighting LEDs.
It was like $1,200.
Oh,
it was like
I don't know.
very expensive.
No, not. I don't know what was involved with that one, but there
But
are.
now there's like $25 ones.
Yeah, I was
like
gonna
super
say,
cheap
they
ones.
it's like it's a cylinder reactor, right? Yeah. No, I don't know why it was $1,200, but
I don't know either.
Got some of the flat.
does it clean itself and
It pulls out and all the algae grows on a sheet.
Yeah.
Harvest what you want.
like the eggs in Jurassic Park?
It's cool.
Like you remember that?
I don't even think it was that fancy. I think it was just like first, and they're like, we can charge a boatload for this, and the next thing you know, people are, having like Coke bottles with like a red LED.
Embryos. They were embryos in Jurassic Park, not eggs. Before I get called out.
Why racist against AI hydras? I've owned a lot of AIs. Yeah.
179.
I have 12 T5s. Still thinking about adding more LED to make it pop. Do you think AI primes are good?
No input, no experience.
Other people like them more than I do. But then again, I think people in general like LED more than I do. I mean, I think there's that also. Like, if I could handle just all T5s in a new building, I'd probably do all T5s. But I can't.
From the electric standpoint?
In the heat. Because like the new building is so well insulated, and me generating that much heat would be impossible to cool. Like, it would just be like a
Your
million
opinions
degrees.
may change once you're in the new building too.
That's true.
Your experience will probably vary in one way or another. But again, people have great success with T5s as well.
Yeah. Well, and again, like, people have
Obviously.
successfully grown corals under every kind of lighting imaginable.
Yeah.
So I don't even think it comes down to lighting so much. Like, it's an important piece and it's an expensive piece.
Water parameters, number one.
Yeah, the chemistry is so important. I wonder how much whiskey we've drank.
I don't know how much was in this bottle.
More than that.
I would say I've had enough. Like, what number are we on? 181? I don't know that I'll be driving to dinner.
182.
My wife's going out with her friends for dinner and going downtown for the night. My sister's watching the kids, so I said I might be home by 7, but that might not happen.
You'll be fine.
I think my sister's spending the night, so.
So many live streams. Johan M., what other live streams are going on? Because the reason why I ask isn't because
This
it's
is
like,
the
oh no.
only live stream that matters.
No, I'm not even like going at it at that angle. For a long
am.
time, it was like Rico would be like live streaming like 12 hours a day. And he's like really stopped doing that because he's no longer monetized on his new channel, or he was not monetized yet on his new channel. So he's like kind of like tapered it down. So I don't know if there was a whole lot of other streams for a while. And because like whenever I was like, oh, I wonder if there's a stream to hang out on, I'd go and there's just nothing going on whenever I looked. So I was like, they're all streaming now? I mean, like, why now?
Who has a guest host? Nah, I'm not a guest host. Special guest appearance.
Special guest appearance.
I like this,
A cameo.
I'm drinking some Jack and Coke.
I take Hydro over Radion just because I don't see performance and growth difference between the two. The one thing that I might disagree with you on that there is the new Radion Gen 4s have really good spread. Like, if you've ever seen some LEDs are very like hyper directional, so you get like weird shadowing under acropora colonies and stuff like that. And wherever there's that like instant dark shadow, they're gonna die right there. So it's only like the top half of the coral's alive, the bottom half is completely dead, sort of thing. The Radions do a much better job of diffusing the light, kind of like more like T5-ish.
That's why I like the Orbic Atlantic, because it's a panel, which
Right.
actually some of the cheap Chinese LEDs, those they're always a block of LEDs spread throughout versus like the pucks. But I have AI Souls on I thought they did I ended up going with the wider dispersed lenses, but
Right, and you have
But there-
many
there's
units too.
Yeah, there's 8 pucks per AI Soul. So
Yeah, big difference there. Yeah, so like again with like the Atlantic, just having that many like different individual things spread out, of course, that whole area, you just get all those angles kind of covered, which is nice.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't like about the Atlantic is that photography is wonky under it.
Yeah, it creates a violet light that you just can't get out of the camera.
186.
Yeah, in my pictures, you can clearly tell which ones are the display tank and which ones are the frag tank with the Atlantic over it.
Brian Kim is asking, how do I purchase this? So we can pause for just a minute. I'll go over the rules. The way these live shows work is you can go to tidalgardens.com/live and you will see the numbered list of corals there. And it just works just like a regular shopping cart. Just toss it into your cart and you check out. So in order to get the coral, you have to completely check out. Just tossing a whole bunch of corals into your cart and then checking at the very end, you might lose out on a couple of the ones that other people have snatched up and actually purchased. So you do want to purchase each individual one if you could. To avoid multiple instances of shipping, which by the way is a $39.99 flat rate, go ahead and select like local pickup / live sale / adding to an existing order. And just make sure you just pay for that shipping once or not at all if your total is over $250. So that's kind of roughly how that works. If you go to tidalgardens.com/live, there's a thing that there you can click on that says, like, how does this all work? And it'll spell it out better than what's on the screen.
So,
Alright.
Vincent Smith, what wine are you guys drinking? We're actually having Jack and Cokes, so it's not wine.
Not
Have
wine.
I tried Dave Matthews vintages? Yes, I get them as gifts very often because people know that I like Dave Matthews Band. So,
Is it a winery?
yes, I believe it's called Dreaming Tree Wines, which is Dreaming Tree is a song off there before these crowded streets.
Is it any good?
The song?
Mm-hmm. No, the wine.
I think so. I'm not a wine connoisseur, but I like it. The song's good too. It's off 1998's release, Before These Crowded Streets.
Burger Planet is the best live streamer.
I gotta be a special guest host on that then, or a special guest. No offense. Have you ever heard of Burger Planet?
Nope, I've not heard of Burger Planet. Yeah, the glass confused you? Yeah.
I agree. Yep, it does kind of look a little red wine-ish. We're going with Jack Daniel's vintage.
Ever had a tank turn green after putting in Shado?
Like the water?
No, that doesn't sound right.
Sounds like your Shado died.
Yeah, that's possible.
Dreaming Tree is on Before These Crowded Streets, and I would agree that it is their best album, followed closely by Crash. And depending on my mood, it could be interchangeable.
Which is one that Satellite is on?
Under the Table and Dreaming, which was the album prior to Crash, which is their third best album in my opinion.
Okay. I like kind of those like kind of ethereal ballady ones, less so like the jammy ones, the songs.
He's got some ethereal ballady ones on the newest CD. I am also not getting a cut from sales or anything, so just...
It's like you're like his tour manager.
Yeah. Dave, am I doing all right?
Dave, you still alive?
You wanted to get into this coral niche market, and, you thought there was a good place for your album sales there.
So Tony S is asking, corals placed in a display tank or grow out in a frag tank then transfer to the display?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
Corals placed straight into the display tank or grow out in a frag tank and then transfer to the display?
I would think that part of it has to do with the size of the frag. If it's just like a tiny SPS nub, you'd want to give it as much space as possible to begin with. So I would guess a frag tank would be better. But if it's, if it's a couple inches and it has multi-branches, I've never had a problem putting it straight into the display tank.
I kind of like putting it into the display tank because once it starts to get growing, it's growing to a specific shape to maximize like the lighting and the flow and everything of that particular area. And so if it's doing that in a frag tank and then you move it over into the show tank,
it's gonna be different conditions right there in that.
Yeah, might not be perfect. You could probably do it either way. I think the most important thing is just to make sure that it's healthy, and that might be easier to do in a smaller frag tank just to get it started.
So Vincent says, yes, Crash is his favorite, and same as you, can swap depending on the mood and weather. Crash came out when I was 16, running cross country in high school, and we'd always go down to the metro parks in the Cleveland area, Bonnie Park and Strongsville. And if I'm down there, I gotta play Crash because it just reminds me so much of that in high school. Before these crowded streets came out my senior year.
I've got a story about Crash from college.
Oh yeah?
Nothing shuts down a party quite like Crash.
Well, yeah, I don't know that I would play it.
I
as a
literally
college
I literally had like somebody that was a huge Dave Matthews fan. He insisted on playing Crash, and I remember like the exodus. You know, like when like somebody hits a dagger 3 on your team, like in the NBA, and then all the crowd.
The crowd just gets into the aisles.
Yeah, the aisles just going towards
a bunch
the
of
exits.
backs of people going.
Yeah, that was our house.
So my wedding, my friends held a bet on how many Dave Matthews Band songs there would be because I custom the playlist, and most of them were like there was a couple slow songs to dance to, but most of them were like during dinner, and or when other things were going on. And the last song, as people were because the wedding was over, people were leaving, and the last song I wanted them to play was Two Step. And I think the over-under was 7. And my friend took the over against my other friend for the under. And when Two Step came on at the very end, that made it 8 songs. And he let out a joyous yell. Not because he liked Dave Matthews Band, but because he won the bet.
If you were to set up a private tank in your home, what would it be and what corals did you put in? Ugh. That's a tough one, because here's the thing. There's going to be 2 show tanks in the new building, and as of right now, I have no idea what's going to go into either of them. So I will have to...
That sounds fun.
What?
Setting up show tanks in your building.
It sounds like fun.
I mean, I'd like the creative input, but I wouldn't want to do it.
I don't want to pay for it. Yeah, everyone's excited about that. I'm just like looking at these bills.
You get paid to set it up, so
I'm already hoarding like some of our corals aside.
there, yeah. I'm very good. I'm very good at spotting corals that are hoarded aside here, either by Dan's mom or you.
197.
So I gotta make sure you guys aren't around when I ask Stan how much they are. He will sell them from under you guys so fast.
Whoever does your editing and macro photography videos is a 12 out of 10. Thank you. I do that. Ben does the photography for the website. I do the videography for the YouTube channel. And I'm a garbage editor. Somebody needs to do that for me. Somebody better than me needs to edit my videos,
198.
which is a low bar. Chiller? Other than a chiller, what is recommendable? To like lower... I'm assuming it's just to lower tank temperatures. I think
Other than a chiller,
just a fan.
fans,
Fans
computer fans that they use to cool down computers.
Yeah, that'll work.
You can install those in your hoods if you have a hood.
Yeah, fans help out a lot.
Have them exhaust the heat from the lights.
And just
Or blow
blowing
across
down
the surface.
Yeah, blow down at the water, that helps a lot too. Or if you get really fancy, you can run a closed loop geothermal coil into the ground, depending on where you live.
The cost effectiveness of that, depending on your project size and what are we talking? A 100-gallon tank or 10,000 gallons of water?
Because the ground
Just
ground
keep your
temperature
options
here.
open. Keep your options
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
geothermal.
You never know.
Unless you live in Yellowstone, the ground temperature is going to be cooler.
Christmas tree coral is shrinking. How do I feed it? I use phyto and reefroids directly blown onto it. Ours tends to respond to both reefroids, and it responds to rotifers, like the freeze-dried rotifers. But yeah, Christmas tree corals are kind of challenging in general.
Talking about the worms?
No, it's a coral. It looks like it's ours are black actually. It looks like a leather coral almost, but when it's closed, it doesn't look like anything. When it extends, it looks like a really cool like black cult coral almost.
Is it a photosynthetic as well, or
I
no?
don't know if it is. I don't think it is. It should be over there. Isn't it literally in Than's backyard? Oh, so I was like, will the new building have a retail area? No.
Appointment only?
Yeah, it's going to be appointment only at best. Like, yeah. The more I think about it, like, the more I think retail will never be in my future. I can't see that ever happening. And certainly
Live
not
retail?
Yeah, and certainly
In-person retail?
Yeah, and certainly not in Ohio. In Singapore, sure. In London, sure. But no. Like, so people do this all the time. They say, like, okay, so most of the U.S., it's fairly small cities, and there's a couple like really big cities, and they're not even like really big on a global scale anymore. But people have this idea that, oh, you know, there's no reef store in my town. I'm going to start a reef aquarium store. There's a reason why there isn't a reef aquarium store in your town. It's because there's 6 of you, and you're the only person that has a reef aquarium tank. Like, that's a problem. Like, it's not just because, oh, people have been sleeping on this. It's like people are sleeping on the idea of salt water or even water. Like, they don't have an aquarium at all.
Not a lot of people think it's rational or sane to put 200 gallons in a glass box in their family room.
Yeah. Of like fresh water even.
Yeah.
Like, no one does this.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so people like want to like open up these stores and have retail walk-in, and like, no. And so I live in the middle of nowhere, okay? There's nobody here to justify like having like a retail presence. There's like 20 reef stores in Houston. There's like 20 reef stores around Northeast Ohio. And all of Northeast Ohio, all of Ohio.
I like to think we have a higher concentration than
Than most.
from a population standpoint. I think we do because
Yeah, and it's like, but I think that we have like a smaller population in all of Ohio than like Houston.
Oh yeah,
Houston's really big.
and growing.
Yeah. So yeah, Houston can sort of make sense based on like the number of people there, but middle of
Cleveland's kinda
nowhere.
weird because northern half's totally cut off because it's a lake, so everyone's dispersed in the suburbs, east side, west side, and kind of southern. And I mean, you're down closer to Akron here, but it's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
Cleveland, from a suburb standpoint, is actually a pretty good size, but
Kind of.
from a city standpoint,
Kinda.
considering half of it's a lake.
Yeah, but it's like it's a shrinking market, you know. It doesn't have 1 million people, which, like, if you look at some other countries, it's like,
I don't. Well, no. I'm not saying, or if you even consider the suburbs, but the suburbs got more than 1 million combined, right?
I don't know,
I think so.
maybe,
I don't know. I could be wrong.
because I know
Somebody
like
Google
I know that Akron has like 250,000 people or something, and that we're like the 4th or 5th largest city in the state. So like, it's tiny,
it. Well, yeah, we're not a metropolis, by any means.
right?
Superman wouldn't reside here.
Hi.
Is there another door? Sure.
Hey, Ben. So, speaking of
Of?
walk-ins,
Is that a walk-in?
yeah.
Should we turn the camera and show what happens to a
No, we're
walk-in?
Okay. Have you ever had to deal with a massive dinoflagellate outbreak? Not
I have
really.
not. No, I have not.
No, not so much.
Maybe you should consider
No.
actual retail. That's 3 in an hour and a half.
Yeah, I thought since you're doing shows, there might be a
Yeah,
retail
who are you
area.
showing? If you show
Oh,
tanks.
show tanks? No. Oh, that's a good point. I'm showing. You know who I'm showing? The internet.
The internet, yeah.
Yeah.
Going back in 208.
Yeah. So think about that for just a sec. Like you do a video of a tank, especially like with like the follow that Tidal Gardens has. It would take a regular store all year to get that many people viewing that tank.
Mm-hmm.
It takes so long.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys don't open to public without an appointment? We do not.
You never know what kind of hijinks is going on in here. You don't want to show up randomly. Trust me.
There could be a live show going on.
Yeah.
With drinking.
Yeah. Open bar live show.
209.
It's interesting that they said that Houston has all these stores, because I remember a long time ago, we actually had some people come here, and they said that there's like almost no stores in Houston.
Found out.
Yeah, or it's just, well, then again, back then, there might not have been as many stores in Ohio, and there's been like this explosion of the number of stores.
Yeah. I think the hobby has become, I don't know if more popular, but more accessible with the advent of the interwebs.
Yeah, and I think that people can do business a little bit easier.
I mean, even the stores in the area, 2 or 3 of them have some sort of online presence as well. So that helps. They can establish a local foothold, but they also have, I couldn't imagine trying to run a store without any web presence. And I think a good portion of their revenue has to come from there, at least in Ohio.
Yeah,
but
building up that web presence, that's a real challenge.
But Houston's just growing and growing and growing, so they also have this drastically increased population over the past few years.
Can you only graft SPS corals, or can you graft chalices as well? I've only heard of like SPS doing it.
Mostly
But actually,
Montes and some acros. But
some people said that you could do it with like a scolie or something.
I've seen them cut them in half and then basically smush them together, and they eventually fuse.
Yeah, it's possible, I guess.
212.
I'm surprised that all these Cephastria look as good as they do.
Oh, the party crasher.
Where'd that one come from?
Did it?
Yep, it's new.
Yeah.
Did
It's
it?
been a while since we've done it. Huh?
Years since we got it from
Looks good.
213.
213. Hi, Lisa. I see one of the other moderators checking in.
Lisa.
Lisa.
Double hearts.
She is in Canada, the land of healthcare.
Land of civility. Is that a word? Civilness? Civility.
Civility.
Is that a word?
I think so.
Somebody Google that.
Our vocabulary is a little bit tested right now.
Yeah, I'm not real into work anymore to figure out what's right and what's wrong.
Well, I was thinking because it's probably the alcohol.
Well, that's right. Yeah, I agree. I'm not willing to try and figure it out or think too hard about it.
This came from you, I think.
I believe it did. And it is a it is a good grower, and it's a mean son of a gun. I didn't curse.
Good. It's hard to not curse, isn't it?
Yes. It was a conscious effort.
Because like
That and the Houston, Texas thing, I thought mean son of a gun was a pretty good tie-in.
There you go. That's a good point. Like people in real life know this, but I swear like a sailor with Tourette's. And to like for 3 hours try to not swear, it's a good challenge every now and again. Completely change gears.
Your voice is soothing.
Oh,
Even when
thank
you curse.
Balling on a budget. That's going to be me. Except with that, but I won't be balling. I'm just going to be on a budget. I just can't spend any more money,
There's
guys.
no budget for the building, but once it's done, it's pure budget time.
So I don't have like specifically a favorite coral, but I have like kind of a set of criteria that makes me like corals more. And one of the most important is obviously what it looks like, but B, that it has to be able to be propagated. So a lot of the corals that look great but that can't be propagated,
So your favorite coral is one that you can make money on.
yes. Well, and also specifically that if it happens to die, I'm left with no recourse, right? It's like, oh, this acanthophilia is dying. Can't do anything about it.
Yep.
It's like, I wish I had some cuttings of it. Oh, wait, I can't.
Yeah, a portion of it starts to die. You can cut frags off of it. But those guys, no.
Right, and it's not like, oh, I had fragged it way back when, and I have a couple others in backup. No, there's nothing like that. You just lose it.
Ben, do you have a favorite coral? Oh.
Probably Angelfish.
Euphilia?
Endophilia.
Euphilia.
Endophilias are pretty cool.
218.
How about you? Acropora?
Various. Yeah, I go all over the place for long time. The jack-o'-lantern Leptocerus was a favorite. Sometimes a Chalice is a favorite. Sometimes an acro is a favorite. What would I say is my favorite right now?
Homewrecker
Not
acro.
my favorite. I like it, but it's not my favorite. You know, I've got, right now, I have a chunk of red planet that's just beautiful. The polyps, the base is green, it's got the red. That one's fun to just look at for a little while.
Aquavert Greenworks. Tanks at 84.5 degrees. Too hot.
That's, yeah, new record.
Yeah, that would freak me out.
Do you have any SPS in there?
Sounds like softies and anemones.
Lisa hit a good one there. The Canada jaw dropper. That is a very crazy acro. I have a big colony of the Space Invaders, and that's very cool. Yeah, it looks nice.
See, I'm really looking for, again, this goes back to this assumption that I'm actually good at this. And when I get these new systems up, that I can start to keep some of the ones in a more stable environment.
No, guys, I'm really good at this. It's just
Trust me.
The greenhouse is what
It's
holds
not,
me back.
yeah,
So I'm building a gigantic facility. I'm so confident I'm good at this that I'm spending a lot of money on a facility that.
hopefully I can start keeping some of these things without, running the risk of, oh, it's spring, therefore it just dies.
I've had some success, so I'm hoping there's some contractor ability here for me if you have problems in the new facility.
You want some
Than,
consulting gigs?
Yeah, Than, you want to run a controlled system? Let's
Well,
work on
I'll
some
tell you what,
contracts.
that is better than some of the job requests that I have received.
Like people looking for jobs and saying, "Hey,
Well,
I've grown
No,
Paulson
no.
Xenia and regular
no,
Xenia."
it's worse than that. No, it's worse than that. So, I mean, some people honestly are offering to do work that a couple tangs and some snails can do. Okay? And they're asking for a lot of money to do that. Like, for those out there that are job hunting, the sort of thing that entices a business owner to hire you is stuff like, I want to sell your product in a completely different continent, and I want to set up this pipeline to do that with the company's name, and I want to set up a headquarters in Asia and the EU. Not, I will scrub your
If
tanks.
snails can do your job.
Yeah, if snails can literally do your job, I'm probably not the guy to hire you, because I'm already trying to eliminate that sort of labor with robots. Like, the snails are going to lose that job. Like, Guys,
Brutal.
it's brutal. What kind of bourbon you drinking? It's not bourbon, it's Jack Daniels, which is like,
It's whiskey.
it's whiskey.
Closely related to bourbon.
Yeah. So bourbon's only in Louisiana?
No. No. I don't know the definitions of them, but
Damn.
there's the bourbon trail throughout.
How do you, like Kentucky, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. How can you tell if your Rhodactis is getting too much light? It shies away from flow, but what about light? I would look at like color. Sometimes they might get a little bit pale looking.
Yeah, you can always move them a little bit. If
Maybe
you
they'll
can,
shrink?
into the shade, see if they expand a bit more. You don't want them expanding to the point that you look like they're reaching for light or don't get enough.
I can't even get a research-related job in marine bio without a master's or a PhD. That can be tough. I mean, I know that like there's not a ton of positions there. What might work out for you is to do volunteering at like a place like Shed. I was surprised at how many volunteers that they had, at a facility like that. I mean, Shed's big, like Shed Aquarium in Chicago, very large institution. So if you can find like a place like that that's doing a lot of different research projects, a lot of overseas stuff even, that they do, getting involved in anything like that would probably help you out pretty substantially. Monye, I'll clean your skimmers for bounce mushrooms.
Robots can already do that. You can already automate that with the squeegee thing.
Yeah.
You got to come up with something that robots can't do.
Which is getting harder and harder.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like guys, business owners, if they can replace labor with automation, best believe they're trying.
Just like me trying to replace my chores with automation on my tanks.
Yeah.
228.
Unfortunately.
YouTube sends me a reminder notification. Doesn't think to send me the actual live. I go, that's a bummer.
All right, we'll recap everything for them.
Yeah. We'll do it again.
We're drinking whiskey and Coke, Jack and Coke.
We'll do it.
That's all you need to know. That's really pretty much all it's been.
Another thing, as far as like stuff that might work, is if you want to do the job of a snail, which you really shouldn't. No, don't. I was going to suggest you could be an intern at a place like Tidal Gardens or bigger, but you really shouldn't. Like, that doesn't help you out very much.
Fan's a terrible reference.
Like, it's a hostile work environment.
You don't want.
You don't want that.
Man, Fan's recommendation letters are brutally honest, if not unfair. You just.
It's
don't want
like
that.
they got replaced by turbo snails.
I'm less likely to die than your turbo snails. Huh? I won't starve to death if your tanks are too clean.
No, that's the problem. Like, the snails are gonna die. This guy's not dying. he's gonna be around.
He's a liability.
He keeps showing up and then messes up,
You're a liability.
knocking
man.
corals over.
You got a lot of property. Somebody could just disappear.
We always talk about like stuffing bodies in the rainwater collection cistern.
Yeah, well, that'd be great. The RODI will filter them out.
231.
We're going through a lot of DI resin. I don't know why.
No idea. Here in Denmark, we have a school with 10th grade class that's taught diving in Egypt and coral restoration.
10th grade class in Denmark, Egypt.
Yeah, that sounds
Those
nice.
aren't near each other. Last I looked.
No.
Wow.
And they do coral farming in Asia. Yeah, that's really nice. I wish I had that in high school.
232.
I did not.
The logistics of that. We went to Washington, D.C. in 8th grade.
I Roomba for fish tank, yeah. Kentucky bourbon roof collapses, crushing 9,000 barrels. I know some of these are like extra bitter about that. Lawson and Suzanne, my friends, they like to drink a lot. If they're still watching.
The 9,000 barrels got crushed? Is that what they're saying?
That's what Tony S. just said.
Is that just a headline or like a fake headline? Or is that
I don't know. That's, you know, as far as like automation, you know, we were talking about like different types of like chemical automation. I really wish there was like other types of automation that would really get in there and clean your tank. But I think right now those are fish and snails and shrimp and things like that.
Here's a robot that doesn't work all that well. Here's an animal that works really well.
That works really well.
I want a robot. It's just cooler, right?
And it's like this robot filled up with water and shorted out.
Electrocuted all my fish.
See that, you know, like that's one of those things that's like, oh, you know, what's going to be safe from the robot apocalypse? Well, very little. But one thing is stuff that's under salt water is probably going to be pretty safe from robots, because that's a challenging environment.
Yeah, that's maybe the most challenging. That's worse than cosmic rays. Salt.
Salt's pretty bad. Favorite soft coral, Peter O'Doherty. His is a toadstool.
Gotta be a bounce mushroom.
I actually like toadstools as well.
You've always hated the bounce mushroom, though.
Yeah, especially
since the day I acquired it.
How many times have I bought that thing from you and had it die?
Oh, I don't know. It's a good question. Once that I only know one confirmed documented case.
I think we're
You're on your way to the second and third.
Speeding towards like 3 dead bounce mushrooms.
You know, I had somebody who he didn't actually buy it was a biohazard. He bought it from somebody who had bought it from me. He bought a frag of it, and it was about a quarter size, and it started shrinking. And he asked if he could put it in my tank, and by the time he got it to my tank, it was no bigger than the size of an eraser. Mm-hmm. And I put it in there, and it's grown and recovered to about the size of a dime. My belief is, after talking with him and everything, his nutrients, his phosphates and nitrates were undetectable, and I think he was starving it.
Oh, okay. That's not the issue I'm having. that ain't it.
No. We've got plenty of those here. A nutritious place.
What are your thoughts on the state of the reef stand? I find a lot of companies involved in the hobby want to downplay it over here. Well, I mean, like you guys in Australia, like obviously, especially now, it's probably a thriving trade because of all the other geographies shutting down and everything. But I think that the general consensus is that the reefs are really struggling. A lot. Yeah, and actually, like a lot of the times that I go diving now, and maybe I'm not hitting like the good spots, but there's a whole lot of bad spots I'm seeing. Do you dive?
I've only snorkeled.
Okay.
But it would be cool to get certified before I go back to Hawaii. Mm-hmm. The ear thing, the pressure, I don't know.
It hurts.
Sure. Yeah.
Diving hurts.
I'm not a big fan of that. I'm not a big fan of pain.
Yeah. I mean, like,
especially in my head.
But you know what? Now that we're older, you get to the added benefit of just all your joints. It's not just your head and like all your.
Oh, as you're
everything.
Diving,
your whole body hurts.
The pressure just.
You're
not making a case for me to get certified.
Yeah, it's like you know how you just can't go on roller coasters anymore.
Yes.
Yeah, this is like that, but underwater.
I was just talking to my coworker about it, and I had forgotten it was you and me that had the intense conversation or in-depth conversation of how bad roller coasters just screw us up.
Yeah, it's like I remember
my kids are starting to get to the age where they might like to go to Cedar Point. I'm like, I'm good for one ride every 2 hours, kids. We're not doing fast pass because that's just.
What's wrong with Dad? Why is he so lame?
Yeah. Why is his head between his knees on the bench over there? Might throw up.
Hey, it's Rico's Aquariums. So Rico, if you had just popped in, we were just talking. Well, we weren't just talking about you, but yeah, we made mention that there's that event going on still later in July that you had set up, and we were also talking about like the YouTube thing. So did you ever get your channel back? Because I heard somebody else had mentioned that all the weed people got their channels back. So that'd be like the worst of all situations. Like you lost your channel because of the weed crackdown. The weed people got over it, and then you still are hanging out there without.
Like Easy Reefers. Did you have a channel? Is it gone?
Get certified, Nathan. It changed my life because I live in Indiana and not Florida. I think it's the only way I'm able to deal with life. Well, wow.
Well, part 1 is getting certified. Part 2 is going somewhere that I can use that certification on a semi-regular basis.
And not Lake Erie.
Yeah, nah. No interest. No interest in diving in Lake Erie. I'll swim in it occasionally.
I don't even do that.
Yeah.
I don't do freshwater.
You don't swim in is that like a policy? Like freshwater? Nah, I'm not swimming that shit.
Okay, so here's like some irrational fear I have.
Something in freshwater is more likely to infect me than in the saltwater.
That's 100% true, though. That's not irrational. That's true. But like the only time I'm ever scared of a shark is when I'm in a chlorinated pool. And I'm swimming in like a chlorinated pool. I think
it's because I don't suspect it. It will get me. I'm not on guard.
And like if you know anything about me, it's like I pay money to go dive with sharks in the ocean, and I'm absolutely 100%.
If I'm sure you're there, I'm ready for it. But if I don't think you're going to be in that pool,
I'm 100% not afraid of actual sharks in actual ocean. But I have this weird nervous tick when I'm swimming laps in a chlorinated pool that there's sharks that are going to get me.
See, my thing is being in the ocean because things bump into you. There's jellyfish. My absolute worst thing in my nightmare is something happening to my feet anywhere. I could be walking barefoot in the yard and I step on something and it's like just total fear of that. And I was in the ocean playing Frisbee and I went to jump and I sliced my foot open on something in there. I think it was a horseshoe crab in South Carolina.
No.
And I came out of there and thankfully it was like in the right under the big toe on the foot where I had a lot of calluses from playing volleyball and stuff. It cut right through the hard callus into the soft tissue and I was bleeding and the lifeguards had to take care of me. But it's like my nightmare and it happened. So I don't mind swimming in the ocean because,
but stepping on
especially
something.
like in along the Atlantic and like South Carolina stuff, it's waves, it's sandy, you don't see very far, and something bumped into me with mass. Something had mass, and I figured it was, I don't know if it was a dolphin or something, but it bumped into my legs, and I almost swallowed water trying to swim back to shore.
Aww.
And it's just like if you're in the Caribbean or you're in Hawaii, you can see what's around you. So if something big's coming at you, at least you see it coming. There's no mystery. Yeah, that's a shark. I'm gonna get effed up, you know. But like in South Carolina, in the murky water, something hits you, and you're like, I don't know what that was. Probably the kraken. It probably was.
One time I was snorkeling in Hawaii, and the most random thing crawled up on me. Like, I'm sitting here, and then all of a sudden, like, I feel this thing, like, climbing on my back. You know what it was? A dog. It's like, why is there a dog in the ocean climbing on me?
Yeah. Yep.
It was, like, completely random.
Pufferfish were the most intimidating things in Hawaii. They don't care. They just swim at you.
Yeah.
And then their big buck teeth, you're like, probably could do some damage, and they don't care. They didn't attack you, but they're not moving. They're not deviating from their path.
No.
Everything else kind of, even the moray eels, you know, there's like a 5-foot moray eel. He's not want nothing to do with you. He's going to swim away. Pufferfish? No.
They're super curious.
Giant eyes and giant teeth. And they're just,
Yeah.
he's like, I'm swimming this way. Why are you here? I'm not here.
Or it's like you know, the last group of people that were here fed me. So I'm going to hang out until
Yeah.
you might have food on you.
You got one of them fingers available?
So Lisa,
Who's not terrified of bull sharks?
Me. When I did my diving thing, we were diving with bull sharks
Oh my God.
specifically.
Specifically.
We went
Some
for the
dive.
bull
Aren't
sharks.
bull sharks like the most what would you call random?
Bitey?
Yeah.
Like bitey?
Aren't they the bit like unpredictable? I thought bull sharks were like,
No, they're pretty
or is it
predictable.
tiger sharks? One of the animal sharks.
Bulls and tigers are the ones that are most likely to bite you,
Yes, exactly.
which is like not very. Not
But
very
still,
likely.
most likely
But
unpredictable.
we fed them.
So one of the other divers?
Yeah.
No, what'd you feed them?
Fish.
Oh,
Like people.
yeah.
No, but
one
so
of the other divers.
So we all get in a line, right?
the one they bit first.
Well, so what's funny is you have to like all kind of like stay close together and all in a line, and then they swim all around you, right? But so if there's a gap between you, they'll try to swim in between, so you have to kind of stay close. But the guys in the end are getting bumped by these sharks
Yeah,
as they like whip around the corner.
You know what they're doing? They're testing you, see what you are.
So these two guys at the end are like, oh my god, because like these sharks just keep on coming up, and they're like 800 pounds or whatever, and just like knocking into
You
them.
are nothing compared to an aquatic creature when it comes to moving and pushing and anything
Yeah.
in the water. You're hopeless.
It was a good time. So if you do want to see that, there actually is a video on my channel that has nearly 0 views, but it's of me diving with those bull sharks. So I will leave you with that.
I didn't even know you had that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, no one does because YouTube didn't want to show it to anybody.
When's it from?
Like a couple years ago. Yeah.
know.
Yes. Yeah. I'll show it to you after the show. Which, by the way, show's over. Thank you all for attending. It's almost 5, so we went for about a good 3 hours there. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the rest of your weekend. I'll say a quick, again, shout out to the Patreon folks. Thanks again, Mark, Christopher, Alan, Trevor, Kevin, Samuel, Phil, Robert, Ryan, and Dave. And of course, thanks to this guy for hanging out with us. You know, it makes it so much easier to like do these things with another person.
Fill
Yeah.
dead air.
It's not just filling dead air, but it's just like, it gives me like a break, and it's also just to talk about other topics and stuff like that. So,
Cool.
yeah, thanks again.
Cool. That was fun.
And now we get to go hit up dinner and break this stuff down. So, all right, guys, take care.
Bye.